Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. My name is Mr. Aegis. I will be your host for this seminar series, our next episode of the Knowledge Fellowship Seminar Series, where we interview some of our amazing educational content creators, give them a spotlight, give them a platform to share with you what they do, and help spread the good word of educational content in the land of Twitch and YouTube. Because there's a sea of slop out there, and there's so much stuff out there that is good for you to enjoy. Welcome, Finan the Druid. Thank you so much for being here with us. Cranberry Banana Salad. We're going to get into our interview in just a moment, but I want to first off, thank everyone who supports the Knowledge Fellowship, all of our amazing streamers, all of the viewers, and for supporting this little endeavor that we're doing, the seminar series, where we try to highlight some of our amazing content creators. Tonight's guest, of course, will be Dr. Gold of Actual Education. But first, let me say, if you're not following the stream group that is in our About section, that is in the About section of many of these streamers, you should. Because whatever you're doing, there is always someone streaming something that is educational, informative, interesting, that you can watch whenever. If you got something going on in the other screen, there's someone streaming soothing, relaxing watchmaking, watch repair, someone doing pottery, someone teaching you about math or science, someone doing Egyptology, someone doing archaeology, someone talking about astronomy. Always something cool and interesting that you can be watching instead of doom scrolling or watching AI slop fruit videos. As you can see on the screen there, we have people in the Knowledge Fellowship from basically every kind of genre of education you can imagine: physics and astronomy, math, programming, practical education, arts and humanities. I myself do health education content. So there's always someone streaming something right now that you can watch. Not right now, though. You should stay right here and watch what we're doing. But if you're bored, if you've got nothing else going on, you can check out something that's going to teach you something and educate and entertain you at the same time. If you are a content creator and you do educational content, you should consider joining the Knowledge Fellowship. There's a link to our Discord that I'm sure our wonderful moderator, E to the 2I Pi, Zach, will be putting in that stream shortly. You can join our Discord. You can apply to become a member, and maybe you will be featured on this very show. Hello, Henry Bear. Thank you so much for joining us. If you know someone who streams educational content of any kind, you can nominate them for membership in the Knowledge Fellowship so that we can help promote their content as well. Because that's the entire goal of the Knowledge Fellowship, is to educate, inspire, and empower others so that we can spread even more educational content throughout live streaming. It is an excellent vehicle. You can always watch a YouTube video to learn something, of course, but that's not really the same as having an interactive host that you can talk to, that you can ask questions of, having a learning community in the chat that you can ask questions of and learn with each other. You can learn about history. You can watch people play educational video games. You can watch people play historical-based video games and talk about the historical accuracy. You can learn foreign languages. You can watch rockets be launched and ask the streamer questions about how that works, why they did that. In the seminar series ourselves, we have interviewed astrobiologists, we've interviewed art historians, we've interviewed an Egyptologist, we've interviewed a NASA veteran, someone who worked at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. So you can always find something really cool to watch. And hopefully you can help support them here as well. So the next thing I want to do, though, since this is going to be about our next guest, our amazing guest, Dr. Gold, I want to play a couple of clips from them just so that you can get an idea of what you're in store for.
Thank you for being for me, by the way, all these years. You've been this quiet presence in the back of my life since I took AP Physics. I really appreciate you, man. You're really awesome. I'm so glad you're doing this. Thank you for helping people do math, and I'm going to be calling on you next semester. So.
Hit me up. I'll help you out in calc, dude. I got you, bro.
That's dope.
Thank you for doing what you do. Bye.
All right, peace, dude.
Right there is something that, as a teacher myself, that is an enormously gratifying kind of moment, where someone that you have helped learn comes back and lets you know what, that really helped me out. That really helped me to understand something that was challenging for me. But let's try the next clip as well.
130, and then this is going to be plus 25 over 130. Now they have the same denominator, so now I can add these fractions. Yeah,
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah.
Usually, you're right. I want it to be either like 5, 10, 15, 20. 130 is technically a 0 at the end, right?
Yeah.
Good.
This is why I need to stop my head out. It's been so long since I've done this. Even the simple stuff like this.
Well, this is why you're paying attention here, dude. You got it, man. I mean, that's the whole point of this. You got it. And yeah, please ask me those questions.
Please
ask me
for squaring me away.
I got you.
Hoorah.
Hoorah. All right, this is 130 over 51.
This stuff was challenging for me.
And now I have all of these things in series with each other. So now this is 130.
See, you can ask ChatGPT that kind of question. You can look a YouTube tutorial up. It's just not the same as having someone there to help you understand it in person.
4. 4 to the third is 64. This cancels. So you end up getting 64 minus 1 plus square root of 4 is 2. So you're going to say plus 8 minus 4. And what is that going to get you? 63 plus 4. It's 6-7.
6-7. Always good to have a little fun with your teachers as well. So that's the kind of thing that you can see when you check out the channel that Dr. Gold works at, the actual education channel. So without further ado, let's bring on our guest. Welcome, Dr. Gold of Actual Education. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us this evening.
Hi there, Mr. Aegis. How's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
Doing great. Yeah, there we go. I see my beautiful. That's really fun. I love the intro you had for this whole stream. I didn't even know we had like horologists and like electronic music. I was like following people while you were doing that. I was like, oh man, wait, these people are on Twitch too. These are really cool.
Yeah, I mean, the whole gamut that you can have on Twitch, especially things that people love, chill content to have on in the background. So you can watch someone doing pottery, or watch someone doing with a nice relaxing voice doing the watchmaking stuff, really, fine detail work. I mean, people love that.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I really resonate with what you say that to combat the amount of slop that is out there on the internet, right? People are always just doom scroll. It's become really apparent for me on YouTube, the amount of just like regurgitated garbage that like fills the feeds. And so I'm 100% in line with that assessment that we need to put out like more actual, like useful educational content to try to stop the brain drain that's happening.
Yeah, even in the pure entertainment type of content, now it's videos about videos about videos. It's breakdowns of compilations of videos, and you're like, this is like 8 times regurgitated. What's that film where the guy sewed the people together? I don't even remember.
Oh, the Human Centipede.
The Human Centipede. It's Human Centipede content out there right now, and it's a real problem. But you are doing something that is fantastic in the streaming sphere. So let's talk about that. First off, though, why did you decide to get into something like math and physics?
Oh, great. Yeah. So, I mean, my love for physics goes back to high school. I took all the AP science classes. I took like AP Bio, AP Chem, AP Physics. And it was just something about physics. I had a great teacher. His name was Mr. Ripito, absolute legend. But I also just loved how in physics you could solve different problems different ways. Like there wasn't like one set mechanical path you had to do things. And, that carried throughout my life. I did my undergraduate degree at University of Texas. Then I went to UCLA to do my PhD. And then after graduating with my PhD, I made the decision that I didn't want to keep going down the academia postdoc, grind. And I just jumped headfirst into education. It's something I'd been doing throughout grad school because they don't really pay you the most during grad school, and living in Los Angeles is not cheap. So I'd always been like kind of tutoring, but it was right when I was getting my PhD. COVID was, we were just getting out of that, and I saw a real need to try to patch all the damage that I would say like COVID exacerbated in our education system. And I don't know, I kind of found a home with it here on Twitch and YouTube and all the other platforms.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I can certainly understand the COVID problem. I was in grad school during COVID just as it hit. I was finishing up and hearing the other students talk about, I can't wait to go to Spain for spring break. And I'm thinking, because it was just about to break at that time, I'm thinking, you're not going overseas. You are not traveling to Europe anytime soon. I hope that you have some kind of alternate plan. That's not going to happen. And it was a real problem. We lost a lot of social interaction as well, which I think, virtual education can't fully replicate. But the traditional virtual education platform, the asynchronous virtual class, discussion board and lectures pre-recorded. It's so much worse. If you can at least have the live interaction of a stream, you're still getting some social emotional benefit. So
yeah, we're being humans, human interaction.
Yeah, and you do a lot of great edutainment type of things to spice things up with that. So tell me a little bit about that process. How did you go from tutoring and teaching to being a quasi entertainer with teaching?
Yeah, education influencer, edufluencer,
Yeah.
or whatever we call it these days. Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. So the whole idea of my stream actually started because during COVID, me and my friends, we couldn't go out. All the bars were shut down. There was no outlet for social interactivity. So we all started buying up gaming components, right, to play video games with each other. We'd play a lot of Warzone, a lot of Fortnite. And what would happen is every once in a while, like some random in our squad or whatever would end up being like a student, and then they would kind of like start hanging around and they would keep playing with us. And eventually we started asking the question, we're like, okay, you've been playing a lot of video games with us. Don't you have like school? How's your grade in math doing? And then from that, we saw that, wait a minute, maybe we can try to like merge these two things of using, platforms and activities that students, especially of that age group, are already naturally attracted to, right? Video games and entertainment. But then also kind of weave in at the same time, hey, how are you doing in your classes? Like, can we help you with your classes? And then also, can we incentivize you to do well in your classes by giving you the same rewards that you're grinding for in these video games? We'll just give them to you if you grind in real life and at least get like a B on your next math test or something. So that's kind of how it started.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's not going away anytime soon. I mean, people are
No.
recognizing that gamification is, I guess, sort of the way forward, because that's just human nature. Going back to you, though,
Mhm.
what's your favorite stuff to do in math? What's your favorite kind of problems to approach?
Ooh, favorite problems. I love problems that can be solved a bunch of different ways. I think it's very cool to see how math is self-consistent. So, for instance, if you do the big one that I always like show students is when they're starting calculus, the limit definition of a derivative is something that they absolutely like hate, and it seems like worthless to do. But then once you show them like, oh, this is also consistent with, like, let's say for instance, doing things with the power rule and everything matches up. I don't know. To me, going kind of into the gamification thing, I try to like show students that like math is just another type of video game where if you understand the rules and like how things work, you can navigate it, and it doesn't need to be this terrible, loathsome, monotonous activity that your teacher's forcing you to do and you don't see any point of it. So I like a lot of calculus for that reason. I think calculus is very cool in being like self-consistent.
Very cool. Very cool. I ask this of anyone that I do know that does math content, like Zach, e to the 2I pi. Shout out to our friend Zach.
We love Zach.
I started playing a game that some of you might recognize called Honkai Star Rail because students told me, you've got to try this gotcha game. And I'm like, I don't know about that. But I started playing it and I'm realizing, you know what? This is just freaking math. Because it's all about how much damage you can do over time, how much you can augment that damage, how much damage you can mitigate. And I'm thinking, it's team composition. It's just math. And people are trying to like, how can I maximize my damage? I'm like, well, if you're thinking about that kind of stuff, you're just thinking about math. What items do I want to put on this character that are going to raise its stats? Because its stats are just math. Any kind of RPG, it's math. If you ever played D&D and you're thinking about, oh my God, should I, roll for this or that? It's math. So
your saving throw is a probability thing.
It's a probability. Like, you're doing statistics.
3 plus, 4 plus. What do I need? Yeah.
Yeah. If you need to do 1.2 billion damage against this boss and, do it within 30 seconds and you've got only so many moves that you can make, you're doing math. Are there games that you found that you find are good for kind of getting that across to people that video games are math?
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Video games are math. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stats stuff that happens, like you talked about like RPGs and things, but even when kids play Fortnite and stuff, they know the numbers. They're like, oh, a headshot is this, a body shot is this, and so they can do the calculation of, okay, so I need like 2 body shots and 1 headshot, or I need like 2 headshots, and it's kind of a way to. I've seen some serious streamers go out and build these massive spreadsheets where they'll do testing. And this is where it's cool because like you're basically doing the scientific method, right? There's a hypothesis of like which weapon in this game is the best for like which situation, and they'll just set up like dummy lobbies, and they'll have like their friend like stand at different distances to see what the fall damage is or something, or the fall off damage. And they'll create these beautiful spreadsheets, and they'll be like, okay, so like if you're engaging people mainly at this range, then this is like the type of weapon you want to use, and at this range, this is the type. And they're finding like little hacks and stuff because these game developers don't cover all the bases. Sometimes when, for instance, a certain like gun becomes OP or meta, it's because when whoever was coding the game, they left out or they forgot about this one little like cheat that these other streamers and gamers and kids will find, and that's through math. It's through optimizing through math, being like, oh wow, I found this, and like now I'm like a beast at the game. Yeah, so there's a lot of that.
Yeah. And Minecraft, I think, is a great example in terms of like the problem solving and
Oh yeah,
not
they build calculators on Minecraft.
Yeah,
Have you seen that when they use logic
wild.
gates to build like massive calculators?
Yeah, and I was not a math person, that's why I went into health education. I had to do some biomechanics and physics in that regard, but seeing some of the things that students do, like I mean, we're talking middle school level students doing in Minecraft is wild, and you think if they really understood that was math and logic and problem solving, and teachers were able to incorporate that, maybe they would not hate math so much. Back to your channel though, I was talking, as I was talking to you before the stream started, with another great streamer, Science, streams Ballant, and the difference between you, Dr. Gold, and the nonprofit Actual Education. Can you tell us a little bit about that distinction?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so Actual Education is our official 501c3. It's an organization that, again, I want to be bigger than me. And it already is, honestly. I have a lot of great mods. Some of them are in the channel here. Shout out Sensation. I have some great partners such as Zach. And my whole idea for Actual Education is to become kind of like an umbrella type of organization that can help empower all these, charismatic, enthusiastic, motivated educators to reach audiences of, students that normally aren't ever looking for help, nor do they know that like they actually need it. And so, yeah, as an organization, Actual Education is kind of like a big nonprofit to do that outreach work. Dr. Gold is just my persona that I allowed myself to have once I finally got my PhD. I was like, okay, that's honestly one of the main reasons I stuck so long into finishing my PhD is I want to be called actually like Dr. Gold and have that be legit. But yeah, that's more I'm just one piece of Actual Education.
Well, tell us a little bit about some of the other pieces then. It's not just yourself. Yeah. There's a whole organization here. Tell us about that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, as an organization, we partner with a lot of really awesome math and science streamers. I was very fortunate to meet, and a lot of them are part of the Knowledge Fellowship, actually. But yeah, like Penn Center, Zach. We actually have so I've started putting together like a calendar for all the different streamers we have. And so this is something that I know Zach might get mad at me, but I used AI to vibe code this. But it's a website that any student that's like looking for help or like just wants to learn more about math and science, they can go check out this calendar that syncs to all of our like Google calendars, and so it's very easy to update. It's very like fast and responsive. If someone needs to like move something because they got to pick up the kids from daycare, it'll show up real quick. But these are just some of the streamers we have. So we have Eric Ian Stuckey. He's a great math. I think he's a grad student, but he's involved in a lot of math research. Penn does a lot of math help. Zach does a ton of math help, and then of course we do stuff as well. So I mean that's one aspect of it, is putting the community together and sharing our audiences so that we can again spread the word and fight the slop of other non-beneficial content out there. And the other parts we have is we produce a lot of like tutorials on like TikTok and YouTube Shorts, and that's mainly to that forms a really great, what we say, like tofu, like top of funnel stream for new students to discover us and to find us. Because again, they're doom scrolling, at midnight, 11 o'clock, whatever, and they're just scrolling through whatever slop or thirst traps and stuff, and then they'll come upon, oh, here's a tutorial on, let's say, volumes of revolution that I've created. And from that, they're like, oh, wow, I was actually just doing this in class. Maybe I should see what else this person is doing. And then they kind of, they make their way into our community. So we do a lot of content creation there to kind of, I say, piggyback on the algorithm. TikTok, YouTube, all of them, they spend billions of dollars finding out the best ways to get kids glued to their screen and to keep clicking. And I just use that to get the kids to keep clicking on math stuff. Because the content we put out, TikTok knows exactly what content to show them, because it knows what they're doing in school. It knows that, oh, they're doing fractions, show them this fraction video. And I'm happy for them to do that. So that's
Yeah.
another aspect of what we do.
I mean, I've done lessons on specifically how TikTok and social media are essentially using the same kind of science and research psychology of casinos. It's the the dopamine slot machine. So I've definitely seen that, and I think it's become more useful though if you know how to use it, like you're doing, than say traditional YouTube videos, because it's so much more rapid. When I've done short form content, it's when I do a National Suicide Prevention Month lesson, I'll do a tutorial video on how to talk to someone who you think is experiencing suicidal ideation. If you do that on TikTok, you get way more engagement and people following you back to see, wow, that was interesting. What else do you do? Than you would if you were to make a YouTube video, which, not to poo-poo YouTube videos and content creators there, but it does feel like that short form content is a better funnel towards your live content than the traditional YouTube tutorial.
The long form stuff. Yeah, attention spans are down. I mean, we've conditioned students to have no attention span. I'm sure you've seen the graphs where, like, I think the average student has attention span less than a goldfish right now. But so yeah, short form content is king. But it needs to be followed up with, I say, like, like an actual dinner. Short form content is the appetizer that gets you, like, interested in the meal.
Yeah.
But then in order to have actual learning happen, that's where we have, the 3-hour live streams, or we have the 10-minute tutorial video. So it's about leveraging all that.
Absolutely. What do you like to do in your streams that's just for fun? What's just the stuff that's just for the pure entertainment of it and to keep you engaged and keep people, rolling in the aisles?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I love doing stuff like this. I had my own little podcast series I was doing earlier last year and stuff. I love talking with people of all sorts of, walks of life, and showing students, for instance, that, there's not just one straight path you have to take. I've had some guests that went from being, in the Marines deployed to Afghanistan twice to now they're, a sound engineer, working in huge studios with great artists. And I'm like, everyone has a unique path, and you don't have to do the go to high school, go to college, get job. That's not necessarily, doesn't have to be for everyone. And something I really like that you speak to is the importance of mental health. And I think normalizing that and showing that, hey, we're all humans. I go through struggles. We all go through struggles. You're not alone. Is very important, especially for today's generation.
Yeah, I mean, because I didn't go through the traditional. I mean, I had dropped out of high school. I had to start working and get a job, and then I went through the military, came back. That's when I was able to go back to school. And I think another useful thing about the live streaming is that non-traditional students, it's more accessible for them as well. People who work 9 to 5, who aren't going to a traditional school, who aren't in a brick and mortar opportunity to learn. It's sort of, streaming is a millennial culture thing almost, and a lot of the young adults that I see in my streams are in that age group, and they are looking for educational content because they didn't get a very good educational experience when they were growing up. Maybe they were at the tail end of COVID. In some cases, public schools were not that great. No child left behind. Do you see that it is primarily more for your particular content younger folks, high school students still, middle school, or is it more young adults?
Good question. Yeah. So I would say the majority of my students are in high school. But I definitely have some very active and very dedicated older students, some in college, some, post college that are, again, going back to school. I say learning happens at any age, and that, the only person you need to compare yourself to is who you were yesterday.
Yeah.
So even if like you're coming into this quote unquote late, you're not late. It's knowledge is forever and learning is forever. I'm a big advocate of like lifelong learning. I think it's what keeps me as sharp as I am these days, as I feel as I get older, right? We start forgetting more and getting it harder to think. But I say doing these streams, helping students, doing calculus 5 times a week keeps me sharp. And I love that. So I try to preach that to even my students once they graduate. I say like, hey, keep at this, like, stay in touch and keep thinking, because once you stop thinking, I think biology takes over and says, okay, you're no longer useful to society. Time to like exit.
Yeah, it is. It is use it or lose it, and they're all perishable skills. I was in the military, so I would do some target shooting now and then. If I don't go to the range and shoot now and then, I can't shoot. It's like it's a perishable skill. It's something you have to do regularly. One of the things that keeps me active is that in my field there are always controversies to talk about. There's always stuff going on in health and misinformation and all that kind of stuff. It does seem that like it might be a little bit different with math and science. Some sciences probably not, but one thing that does always come up that I see, because I did tutoring for a while, is the parents' problem with new math and the sort of
the Common Core stuff.
Core stuff.
It's a common meme, right, from The Incredibles, where it's like, math is math.
Yeah. Does that come up? Have you seen that sort of get people frustrated?
Yes. Yeah, no, I totally have. It was funny. I actually had what was it? I had a post about this even in my Discord that came up because we were talking about like sometimes they have these ridiculous ways they try to teach math. I think it's just to be different, I don't really understand it. Let me see. I have the screenshot of it. We were talking about it. Here we were talking about it. Was it the other day? This was it. Let me pull it up. Yeah. So this was an example of a question, right? Which of the following shows 2/6 minus 1/3? And apparently choice B here is wrong.
Yeah.
And we had a big debate in my Discord about this, and I'm just like, oh man. I think choice C is technically the correct one, because what they were like mistakenly trying to advocate for here is that they need to be the same total size.
Yeah.
But it's completely missing the boat on like what is the concept of a fraction.
Yeah.
Zach says, "Oh no, yeah, this is terrible."
Yeah, which doesn't really help further, the idea that this new math is actually beneficial when. Yes, math is math, but there are better ways that we can think about it and be able to teach kids mental math earlier so they have better math reasoning, the ability to add or divide, multiply bigger numbers in their head without needing to bust out a calculator. What is your kind of stance on that? Should we just keep teaching that same old way?
Honestly, I mean, it worked and it has worked. I think sometimes we try to reinvent the wheel too much. And I don't know. I liken sometimes to math as you have to eat your vegetables. If we keep trying to put more artificial sweeteners and stuff on broccoli just to like make it quote unquote like palatable, you destroy like the whole reason like why we're even eating the broccoli. So what I try to do in my Discord is teach students that like, yeah, math is hard. Sometimes math sucks, and sometimes you got to like put in the effort. And it's not something you want to do, but it's going to make you a better person. And so, what I do in the Discord is then I liken that progress to getting rewards that they actually want. I think sometimes we try to make math like too I guess attractive, or we try to like gamify it too much, and then it loses the whole shape of being math. When you go to your job, your employer's not going to say, "Oh, this is a great, awesome, wonderful thing. You're going to love every minute of it." It's like, no, that's not how the real world works. You have to do things you don't like, and you have to struggle. I think struggle's the number one thing that has been lost these days. Is that students are conditioned that anytime there's any sort of resistance or any sort of struggle, that they can just swipe to the next thing for an easy dopamine hit. And so I think we need to kind of return back to, forcing students to, again, focus, struggle, and like work on something difficult they don't like and just sit with it, so that, again, the brain can form these new connections between neurons that help them solve more complicated problems in the future. So I say let's go back to like let's stop trying to reinvent the wheel with trying to make math, quote unquote, like palatable, and I guess teach more that like some of it is going to be difficult, but that's part of the journey. That's how you become a better person.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's a point that applies more broadly socially as well. Like people avoid watching challenging movies and TV shows because they don't want to struggle with that. They don't want to sit and deal with that. And I fall into that sometimes too, where I just want to watch comfort content. But we do kind of get into that. If there's a game that's too hard, people are like, well, Dark Souls is too hard. Why do they make it so hard?
Well, go back to cozy gaming. Let's go to cozy gaming.
Go play little cozy witch builds a cottage in the forest or something.
Animal
that's fine
Crossing
too.
or whatever.
Yeah, that's fine too. But you're not going to get the enjoyment of playing a game like I was playing Disco Elysium.
Yeah, it's the,
like, God, this
the
is so hard,
right? The sense of like, I did something. I have pride in it. I think getting back to that, I think will really reinvigorate this next generation to do math.
Hopefully. I mean, when I was doing some tutoring, math and reading were obviously the hardest ones. And math, it's like, there are so many useful applications of how are you going to be able to finance your next phone? Can you figure that out? If it's a younger kid, and he didn't want to do percentages, I'm like, well, what's your favorite quarterback? And he would say Caleb Williams. And I would say, why are you a Bears fan? You live in Wisconsin.
Iceman.
But then...
Yeah. What are you doing? Being a Bears fan, dude, what?
But
go be a cheesehead.
All right, how many passes did he throw last game? How many did he complete?
How many Hail Marys did he throw?
Because they were down as usual. But yeah, calculate his completion percentage, make it somehow relevant. And it's hard because in some cases in the reading, it was making a young kid read The Great Gatsby. And they're like, well, this doesn't have any relevance to me. This isn't what normal people talk about anymore. I'm like, well, it's about a social climber who wants to get ahead by any means necessary, using their connections. Can you not think of anyone like that in our modern society? Like, oh, yeah, actually, that is something that people are still doing. So finding that relevance is important too, but you just can't get over the fact that people have to accept struggle. And it is something that people are avoiding, whether it's in their health and fitness, they're in social issues, in their media, in education, obviously.
Just even conflict, people are very like, I have this nowadays, people are very, I'd say like avoidant, right? Rather than like have discussions and, have constructive arguments about things, they would rather just either ghost or just, I don't know, just rage quit and just type whatever. And I'm like, no. Like, let's sit with this. Like, we'll figure it out. It's okay. It's okay. This is how we grow as a society.
Yeah. And especially when school is should be that's the testing ground. That's the place where you are allowed to fail when it's not like it's your job, where there might be real consequences if you screw up, if you don't do that calculation right and then the nuclear plant melts down or something. But in school, that's your safe place to try and fail. And if we've made schools a place where people feel like they'll be judged or it's awkward, that's going to make it a problem.
No, this speaks very much to like why my stream is called Office Hours in the first place, is because I know students are deathly afraid of raising their hand in class and asking a question because they think everyone's going to judge me. Everyone's going to think I'm stupid, especially in today's age where everything's recorded. Everyone's afraid of getting canceled or like becoming the next like Hawk to a like viral meme. So nobody asks questions in class anymore. And so my stream is a place where I say, hey, here's a safe place. You can ask a question. You're anonymous behind whatever your screen name username is. But I want you to get used to like asking questions helps you. So hopefully by the time they get to college, right, where college is the main thing that you have actual office hours at, that they go do that. It's the number one thing I wish I did more of in my undergrad. My only regret I really have is I almost never went to office hours. And it wasn't until I started giving office hours myself, as a professor and as a streamer here, where I was like, oh, wow, this is incredibly helpful and useful. I wish I had taken advantage of this. Let me at least introduce that at the high school level on a safe medium such as Twitch.
Well, two things there. Number one, you only have one main regret from your undergrad?
Oh, yeah, no regrets. Everything's an experience.
Everything was great. Everything was an experience.
Everything was great. Everything was an experience. I say there's no such thing as mistakes unless you make the mistake twice. Then that's a mistake. But everything else is you had to experience it in order to understand it.
I have a few regrets. I went to UW-Madison, so a big party school. You went to UCLA. That's another big party school.
I went to UT for undergrad, so
we
were both UT. Yeah, UT was my undergrad. I went to UCLA for my PhD. 100%. You're right there. But Madison, yeah, I know. Madison is basically the Austin, Texas of the North. I know it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we were number 1 in the Playboy party school ranking one year.
You have like, so many bars. They're like all on a street, right?
Yeah, it's wild. So I have some regrets, but it worked out in the end.
Yeah, we're here.
The second thing, though, the anonymity aspect is huge. And I think especially something that I've recognized doing health content, kids are deathly afraid of raising their hand normally. When it's about something regarding their mental health or their sexual health, there's no way they want to talk about that and raise their hand.
No.
When it's just their little pixelated avatar on the bottom of the screen, though, and it's their username, and they can be anonymous and raise those questions, it goes back to, if you have that question, there is undeniably other people who have that same question who are too afraid to ask. So I think the anonymity and the ability to come in and out as you please is huge. And it makes for great interaction and that social emotional learning we were talking about. Because if you're able to practice raising your hand and talking in an anonymous fashion, it does give you a little bit more confidence, a little bit more self-mastery to be like, what, that didn't hurt. I'll be able to raise my hand in the real class now and, help myself and others.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It's just practice. It's just teaching them that, like, and I agree with this as well. I was teaching a lecture at UCLA last week, and man, imagine getting the Gen Z stare from 190 people in a lecture hall.
Yeah.
I'm standing there. I'm like, okay, guys, what does K equal to? K is 2 pi over lambda in waves. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, and I'm getting nothing. And I tell them, I'm like, it's okay. You can say something. It's okay. Speak up. And then eventually, you'll get like 1 or 2 people be like, oh, it's 2 pi over lambda. I'm like, there we go. Good. Okay. But I try to tell the students that if you're confused and you don't understand something, I guarantee you, like, at least half the class has the same question or is also confused or also has no clue what's going on. So you're doing them a favor by raising your hand and speaking up.
Yeah. A lot of people, if you would ask them, would say, I'm pretty average. So if you're the average person, the average person has that question. You're the average person. You have that question.
Yeah.
And in the embarrassment part, I think there was a lesson I gave on cringe, because that's such a big topic in Gen Alpha and Gen Z. And I brought up the studies that showed almost no one is actually paying attention to you. Almost no one is actually noticing you when you think you're doing something cringe. Or remembering. They had this test subjects wear a really embarrassing looking shirt and then go through a crowd of people and ask afterwards, how many people do you think noticed you? Like, half the people noticed me. Nobody paid attention to you. They're thinking about what they're going to have for dinner.
They're
thinking
have their
about
own lives.
Their own sense of insecurity and cringe. They're thinking about, does David like me? Is she going to dump me? I got to feed the dog. I can't make my rent this month. I mean, everyone's got their own stuff going on. And even if they didn't, you should not let yourself be limited by what's going on in this cranial space of someone else. That will never affect you. They'll probably never see you again. I tell my students, you shouldn't dance like no one's watching. You should dance like people are watching and you don't care. Because if you continue to let yourself be limited by what other people are going to think, you're not going to be on your deathbed thinking, wow, I really wish I hadn't danced so much. Like, I really wish I'd not asked so many questions in class. That's not going to be your concern.
No, never. Yeah. Make the memories, have the experience. Again, this is the kind of the no regrets thing. I tell students, just do it, because if you're on your deathbed, you're not going to be like, oh man, I wish I'd gotten like more, healthy nights of sleep and like not gone out or not asked that question. And I'm just like, no, like, go do it.
Yeah, I wish I'd spent more time arguing with bots on Twitter.
Oh my God. Yeah. You were speaking about, I think it was how the extremes get really amplified, right? You said that you always have content, right? Because there's always controversy, right? And I think that's something that's very true in today's algorithmic world, right? Is because the algorithm loves controversy. It loves extremes. And so those thoughts tend to get amplified, whereas I think most of us are like middle down the road. And that's what I try to like normalize in my Discord with students is you don't have to fall into like camp A or camp B of like either extreme on an issue. We can have there can be some nuances to understanding the middle of it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, God, there's so many great memes about it where it's like people are so sure about things these days. Like, man, I think it depends. Or it's the Goomba problem where you see one person say, you know, I hate A, and the other person say I hate B, and you think, well, that's hypocritical. Like, no, those are two different people. People have two different opinions, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Breasticles, great username. Most people won't remember you at all. Most people won't remember it at all other than you. And that's the key, is that you're the one who's going to have to live with it. You're the one who's going to have to live with, I didn't go out, I didn't sing karaoke because I was worried. I mean, look at me. I sing terrible karaoke all the time.
What's your favorite karaoke song? What's your favorite karaoke song?
Right now, I'm singing the song Poison from Has Been Hotel, even though I've never seen the show.
Ooh, I love Has Been Hotel. It's a great show.
I've never seen the show, but I sing the song Poison a lot in streams because it just gets in my brain. I sing the Japanese closing to Cowboy Bebop. I don't speak Japanese, but I remember the lyrics in Japanese, so I'll sing that. And then there'll just be like weird 90s songs that will come up and people will be like, I did not expect to hear Crossfade today in a stream. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, I couldn't help it. I sang a Nickelback song. Sorry, I was a millennial. You know, what do you want from me?
Yeah, we had the best times. Yeah, that's too funny.
Went to a concert once that was Good Charlotte, Nickelback, Cinderella, and the band Poison.
And the band Poison. Okay, yeah, there you go. Wow.
Good God, that was my era. So you asked me that question. You have to answer it now.
Oh yeah. My go-to is always "Bad Romance" by Lady Gaga. I like that song by heart.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I do the dance too. I do this. You know, again, I dance like everybody's watching, and I don't care. Very much so.
Yes, Poison Mouse. I also sing "Save the Ferrets," aka "Ferret Walk," the Pokemon song. Sorry, I do have two ferrets, Smokey and Ori. They are the real stars of the show.
Is that what your VTuber is based on? You have like a custom sprite thing.
I am.
Is it based on the ferrets?
Yes, and I have my two ferrets on my shoulder, Moki and Ori.
We're getting the backstory. I love the lore here.
Yeah, and I mean the VTuber thing. It's a great vehicle for the kind of stuff I talk about. It's very approachable and like non-judgmental, and it's different talking to that intermediary layer of a cartoon character when it's something serious. When you think, well,
I see. It kind of lightens the mood, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So that they're more comfortable to talk. Oh, that's great. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, something that I'm looking forward to doing a little bit more research on. I've written a white paper and hoping to explore more. But in general, just the streaming environment can be so conducive for education if it were to be given more serious attention. And I think we're getting a little bit too focused on researching, say, AI for education, these AI agents that will teach people, or Khan Academy type stuff, which is great. But if there's a real human person doing,
they need a human.
Yeah,
humans need a human to actually like to inspire them to learn. Again, I tell students, I say, you live in the best era, because if you wanted to learn and you were self-motivated enough, you have infinite tools. Like AI could literally teach you whatever you want. The issue is that they won't, because they don't have a human there to inspire them to do it.
Yeah. And if you have that human, if you have someone that you enjoy talking to, if you go to a Dr. Gold stream and you're like, I enjoy it, this person is affable and they know what they're talking about, and I can just ask them questions. Like I said, that tool is there available for you anytime you really need. You've got that schedule of people. There's almost always someone streaming something that you can learn from. If you want to learn programming, there's a million tools out there and you could vibe code stuff. But if you want to learn it, right now, there's probably someone streaming the exact language you want to learn. If you want to learn a foreign language, there's someone streaming in that language, which is way better for immersion than taking an AI class.
Right. Yeah. Or like the old school days, right, where we had to go get Rosetta Stone and pay like $300 for some software. It's just nuts how much is out there and available. And maybe this is overwhelming, I guess. It's kind of like the paradox of choice, right?
Yeah.
If there are so many choices and so like analysis paralysis, all that stuff, right? Exactly. You're just like, there's so much that a student could do that, they really do need like a human role model or like mentor to like point them in the right direction and be like, hey, you should go do this.
I think it really dovetails sadly, with the sort of hopelessness, the crisis of loneliness, crisis of hopelessness that's out there socially, is that they have all these choices, they have all these options, they have all these tools available. In part, it's that they don't have a human to inspire them and to guide them in how to do that. But
Right.
it's also, what's the point? I'll never be able to
I
buy a
think
house. I'll never be able to get a good
oh
job.
man, I can go on forever about that. Our generation, right? I was born in '90, so
About the same,
I'm our about the same, right? Yeah, our generation was sold this I'd say this dream of, hey, just go to college, you'll get a good job, you'll have a wife, you'll have kids, everything will be great, and then we kind of got the rug pulled underneath us. Like as we were graduating, right? The '08 crisis was in high school. And then after college, we had COVID and everything happening. So I understand why the next generation coming up feels hopeless because they've seen that whole dream just like erode and disappear.
Mhm.
And they start thinking like, wait a minute, what's the point? Because it, I might as well just stay at home in my parents' basement and play Fortnite all day because at least I'll be happy
Yeah, in the short term, and then the years go
in the
by,
short term. Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
it's a short term. It's a short term society where you teach, and in part it's sociological. You give the famous test where they give kids who are from poor backgrounds a piece of candy, and they tell them, you can eat this piece of candy right now, but if you can wait for 10 minutes, I'll give you 3. Almost all the kids who come from rich backgrounds, they'll wait and they'll get the 3 pieces of candy. Most of the kids from poor backgrounds will eat that candy right away because, number one, I get to be happy in the short term, and number two,
Yeah.
they don't necessarily believe you or expect that they'll actually get that return later on.
Because they've never gotten the returns in their own life.
The hard
right?
work,
Yeah.
the discipline has never actually paid off.
Wow, it's fascinating. Yeah. And I would say also, in terms of like the friendship thing, right? It's much easier to just form a parasocial relationship with someone on your news feed than it is to like put yourself out there and go, make actual friends and go do actual things together, right? It's a much easier dopamine hit. So yeah, again, it's social media and the internet and everything was supposed to like bring us together, but it's fascinating in that for people, especially who like grew up on it and didn't see anything else, it's actually isolated them further apart from each other because now they just create these little bubbles. And again, any sort of struggle, any sort of opinion they don't like, they can just swipe away from. And so now they get this nice little like echo chamber of, content material that only makes them feel good being sent directly to them. But that's not how the world works.
No, it was a great democratizing factor. The problem is that you can sort of too easily curate it, like you're saying, to just the things that I want and enjoy, rather than things that are going to challenge you and cause you to grow and struggle. So that the fracturizing just gets worse and worse. It at first was a great democratizing force and this big melting pot, this big connecting tissue that brought everyone together. But then people were atomized again, and that it works into the favor of the people who sell the dopamine hits because
yeah. Facebook loves it. Yeah. I mean, and this is why I say, like, again, we could be like doom and gloom, everything's screwed. What are we going to do about this? Or we can do, what we're doing right now is let's just piggyback on it, right? And so, I am very much a strong believer of if these students again or are always on these online platforms, they're always in these little bubbles and stuff. Let's give them the dopamine hits they want, but then that gets them into a community where like they have to interact with other people that aren't just exactly like themselves or we challenge them to do hard things to get better. But we kind of come in as like a Trojan horse. That's where again all of my YouTube shorts I have all like the sounds and the memes and everything because I know that's what they respond to. That's what they click on. But then once they've clicked, then we start like bringing them hey, but also let's do well in our math classes and you can get cool stuff.
Yeah, show them the even greater and more sincere dopamine hit. To continue to use that analogy, which is I think pretty accurate.
Yeah,
that comes with the self mastery. That comes with intrinsic motivation rather than the extrinsic motivation of the flashing lights and colors that the video game gives you when you beat a level. You get that, plus you get the personal pride and enjoyment of I did this hard thing, rather than what a lot of games are doing, which is the super easy level progression, and you get that next
yeah.
hit, you get that next flashing light that says, yeah.
We talked about this, how like video games have kind of really degraded us as a society, right? Because back in our day, video games were hard, right? You would get so mad, right, if you died on a one level because you'd have to restart the whole thing. But nowadays, video games just have like infinite save points, and so there's no struggle anymore.
Yeah, there is no pride of accomplishment.
Yeah,
I mean, the games that are hard, they get sort of they only get the attention because of how hard they are. It's like, oh, this game is so hard, it's so hardcore, and then only the hardcore people play it. Battletoads. Oh my god. God. I was just thinking about Star Fox the other day because of the Super Mario movie with Star Fox in it. I'm like, people have a little nostalgia goggles for that. The game was freaking hard if you wanted to get, a good score. Back in the day, it's like, yeah, it was great, but you weren't there. You weren't there for that.
Yeah. We had legendary mode on nightmare mode or whatever on Halo, There were challenging things where like you'd go to your friend and like, yeah, we did it. Like, awesome. Yeah. But nowadays it's just give them as much dopamine as they can, because then they'll buy whatever microtransactions we need to like support our company. And I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, DLC was horse armor for Oblivion.
Yes. Okay. Wow.
It wasn't a battle pass that gave you a gun that is overpowered in whatever shooter you get, which you are getting the hand-eye coordination skills or whatever, but that's not really what's going to be beneficial in whatever career you're doing. You're probably not going to grow up to be a drone operator in the military. I mean, maybe.
We hope not.
We certainly hope not.
I have this own philosophy with myself, because again, I throughout high school, man, I loved video games. I would play all the time. But back in our day, right, if we wanted to play multiplayer, we would have to ask our friends, hey, like, can I bring my TV and my Xbox over so that we can like hook them together? You remember like the LAN parties and stuff. There was a great like social aspect to it. And I try to keep that mentality even nowadays as an adult, because I definitely had times during COVID where I would find myself just quote unquote addicted to video games. And I was kind of stuck in that loop of, I got to level the battle pass. I got to get the camo. I got to do this, to the point where like I was doing it like by myself. And then I would start to reflect back to me like, wait a minute, wait, what? Like I was, what did I actually build there? In terms of like skills in life. So nowadays when I play video games, I force myself to say, I either have to be playing with the students so that I'm furthering the community and continuing to build those, bonds and relationships, or I have to begin like playing with my friends. Playing by myself on video games is like a no-no for me. I'm just like, no, I don't do it unless there's some sort of social aspect to it.
And unfortunately, a lot of single player games are just not being made well right now because they want the multiplayer aspect. They want the competitive aspect. I'll play single player games, but the games that I've played recently are Disco Elysium, because it's a great exploration of psychology. There's a game called Gris, which is it was made by in conjunction with psychologists to teach the stages of grief and healing. And so like there's these great narrative games out there that you can play single player, but that's not what's being really sold to people. What's being sold to people is games where you buy a battle pass, or you buy a monthly subscription, or you are in competition with
gaming
other
as a service.
Gaming as a service,
is what it is.
GAS.
Gaming as a service.
Whereas that single player experiences used to be very different back in the day.
There used to be art to it, right? You remember like Half-Life. Half-Life was like a work of art. I was like, man, this single player campaign is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I play Night in the Woods every Halloween just because I get something new out of it every night, because it's this exploration of solitary life in the Midwest as a millennial. I'm like, oh, this is like the great American novel right now in video game form, but that's not what makes a lot of money, unfortunately.
Right.
But
there's
you can
always
still
this
teach stuff with the games like Minecraft, the games like even the games that are shooters like Fortnite, where you can incorporate math or working together as a unit, communication,
building architecture. There's all sorts of fun stuff. Yeah. I think we are constantly kind of running against the barrier of like, what's good for society and like what's good for shareholders, right? Especially in video games, you're seeing this a lot. And I think we just have to keep. I also say like you vote with your wallet, right? Mm-hmm. So I will like refuse to buy cosmetics and stuff in certain games if I just really don't support, what what the ethos of that company is, or like whether they're trying to listen to their community and build a great game so that all the community can enjoy, or whether they're being someone like Call of Duty, unfortunately these days, which is literally just trying to like extract as much cash out of their player base as they can. It's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, one of the lessons I did recently was gaming as gambling, talking about people opening
we love gambling,
loot boxes,
loot boxes, like Counter-Strike,
and like the FIFA type games where you're opening the card packs, and it is just a casino, and people don't realize a lot of the streamers that are doing that, they're paid by the game to do that, and you think, oh, it's this randomized chance where they might get this gold card, and like, no, that was pre-planned. They got they have a special contract with the FIFA or whatever NBA games that are doing that, but it is just gambling, and it's instilling the gambling values into kids at a very young age, and getting them to accept and normalize things like Kalshi and Polymarket. And you see these athletes.
There's so many problems with those
promoting it. I'm like, oh, Shaq has this great PR. He does all these great things. And like, oh, now he's pushing DraftKings. I'm like,
or like Rain Bet, right? I see that one all the time. Rain Bet, Stake.
I'm like, didn't an NBA player just get arrested by the feds for like point shaving and stuff?
There was a massive mafia racket around this too. Yeah, there's a bunch of it. Zach's saying don't do the thing. He's saying because I do employ gambling on my stream. Because again, it's one of these things where I've recognized that it works as a dopamine response, like as a keeping people engaged and people doing things. And rather than trying to fight it, I'm adapting it and piggybacking it for like what I need to like make my stream more interactive, more engaging.
Yeah.
So something I've noticed is that because I've started getting more people watching my stream on various channels, we have like a queue system that students will submit questions, and then we used to go through them first in, first out, right? Or first come, first serve. But this was becoming a problem because later in the stream, the queue would be like 15 questions deep, and so no one else wanted to submit a question because they knew they were going to have to wait 3 hours for it to come in. So I used AI to vibe code a queue system website where students submit questions, and then as their questions are in the queue, they like accumulate votes, and then they can also upvote their own questions like every 3 minutes and stuff to keep them engaged. But then we choose the question with like a gambling spinning wheel, and I have it say like "Let's go gambling" and everything. And so I'm hitting at what has been proven, I guess, with these companies is a effective way to keep people engaged and keep people doing things, but I'm making it so it's for them getting their math homework questions answered.
And one of the 3 main qualifications of gambling is that there has to be a potential loss. So if they're not losing anything necessarily, that it's not feeding that same exact addiction center, but it is still giving them the dopamine hit. So as long as there is some kind of benefit without a monetary loss, I'm assuming you're not charging them for this service.
No. Yeah, everything's completely free. The only thing, I would say the only thing they're losing is their time. But at the same point, like the more time they spend on my stream, the more they're learning anyways. So even if it's like quote unquote like they lost their time, they're still watching my stream and watching other questions get answered, which is hopefully imparting knowledge upon them. So
it's basically a really good build on the architecture of the channel points system, which already is in there, which I see a lot of people use for Gamba or gambling, which I watch a guy who does Ocarina of Time randomizers because I'm a millennial. Ocarina of Time, watch that. And people will bet their points. Channel? It's not. It's ZFG, but probably someone the Penn Center has watched countless hours of. But people will gamble on what they think the next item he'll get is. And then they get a bunch of points back, and then they can spend the points on things. But they're not losing any money. They're spending their time willingly to continue to support the channel and to continue to watch the content. And if you can do that with education, then like you said, even if you're just watching passively, you're spending your time listening to people talk about math, talk about science, physics. It's a great buy-in, and you have to get that buy-in somehow.
Yeah. And I say other people have spent billions of dollars researching how to get people addicted or like whatever. Attention span and focus is the most valuable commodity these days. And so rather than reinvent the wheel, I say we'll just take whatever mechanisms and methods they've already poured billions of dollars into researching that work, and we adapt them towards education.
Yeah.
And it works.
Because they're not going to spend that money on education themselves.
No, they're not. Yeah. And again, the DOE, which doesn't exist anymore, will never compete with them. They don't have the war chest to go against that. So it's kind of like, if you can't beat them, join them type situation. I know it sounds like, defeatist sometimes, but it works. And I'm very much a like ends justify the means type person. I don't care how it happens, but as long as we can not hurt people and get people to learn, I'm on board. Like whatever needs to happen.
Yeah. And then in this case, I think we've been talking about all along, people are going to be spending their time on Twitch anyway. They're going to be watching stuff, and whether it's a lewd tuber, or whether it's, a bathtub stream, or whether it's AI generated videos, or it's people doing FIFA pulls or whatever, they're going to watch. Streaming is one of the biggest forms of entertainment. So why not at least have the option for people to watch educational content, edutainment content, something that's going to be providing some kind of enrichment.
Yeah. I tell people that I have so many people that will join my Discord and join my community, and they'll say, "Oh, I was just scrolling through, YouTube and YouTube Shorts, and you came up," and I was like, "Oh, and this is cool," and like, or even I'm doing this in my class right now. Wow. I will say for anyone who's thinking about streaming on TikTok, as much as I have, my opinions on the ethical side of TikTok as a company, their algorithm is one of the best out there, probably for the wrong reasons, but it is so good at finding exactly who wants to see your content, to the point where even when I'm live streaming, they are actively monitoring my voice. And so if I'm doing chemistry problems with a student, it will instantly start showing my live stream to anyone who is in a chemistry class or is like, needs help with their chemistry homework. And then suddenly my homework queue will become a bunch of chemistry questions. And so I didn't ask TikTok to do that. I'm not paying them. Nothing's sponsored. And TikTok doesn't care. They just want the clicks. They just want people to stay on their platform. And so that's another like example of like, I'm like, okay, wow, ends justify the means. As long as we're helping people out with their chemistry homework, like I'm cool with it. Like keep going.
Yeah, it's sort of Joker dumping chemicals into the Gotham water supply, except it's dumping some beneficial content into the stream, stream of consciousness that TikTok and YouTube represent.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, Zach, the Wall Street Journal is now advertising for Polymarket too. I wouldn't be. I mean, I'm pretty upset
I thought Polymarket was illegal in the U.S. I thought Kalshi's the only one that's actually legal.
I mean, that soldier was just arrested for the bet.
$400,000.
Yeah, 400 grand.
Yeah. You know who else is like a big investor in Polymarket? Of course.
Who?
Donald Trump's son is a huge investor in Polymarket.
I was super disappointed.
Don't you think that's a little?
Yeah, that's a little bit conflict of interest. I mean, obviously, I'm from Wisconsin, so I was disappointed to hear Giannis was a big investor in Kalshi. Oh my God! Like, keep it out of sports, man. Like, that's literally the worst thing you could get involved in. Oh, Wall Street Journal's parent, Dow Jones, has a commercial relationship with.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I know people use it through a VPN. Again, it's one of these things where like it's banned in the US, but people just use a VPN, and it's all in crypto. So, and this is I mean, we could go on like so many more deep dives of this, but I liked crypto for a bit, and now I just see it just keeps getting abused for like the wrong reasons, and I'm just like, man.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I mean, when the NFT thing happened and then it blew up, it was like you're not going to recover from that. Once it became a joke, once everyone was just laughing at it and like, this is stupid, it's for weird nerds.
It's just for money laundering. I say at the end of the day, it's all just money laundering. That's all this stuff is. And then in the case of Polymarket, it's for a couple people with insider information to just extract wealth from poor people who think that, I have a moonshot of hitting this bet. I mean, if you want to know why gambling is so prevalent and popular these days, I think it's because you're having a massive wealth disparity in the classes. We have what's called a K-shaped economy, right? The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. And suddenly the poor no longer see hard work and effort as a legitimate way to improve their standing. So it's the whole, I mean, this was with GME and, what was it? The kitty guy. It's like no stop till Lambos. Like I'm going to bet everything I have on going 100x because it's either 100x or it's zero, and anything in between is like inconsequential, will not like change my life. So what's the point? It's terrible.
What's the scene from It's a Wonderful Life where it's like, do you have any idea how long it takes a working man to save $5,000? It's like, that hasn't changed for however many years it's been, like 70 years since that movie came out. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, even if you gave someone $5,000, like that's a huge help, but it's not going to change their life.
It's not going to change your life.
Whereas if I make $100 million betting on shorting GameStop or whatever,
Yeah.
or however that was, I didn't follow that because like you did too, I is saying gambling is a tax and people who don't know math, I didn't know the math well enough. So
yeah. And it's all rigged. There's people, and this is what I get upset at, is because, innocent, poor people are getting the resources extracted from them from people who have already just like rigged the game the whole time. And, again, this is probably where, like, if we teach kids more math, more about probability, they might start to understand that, like, oh yeah, this is not something I should get involved with, because like the expectation value is negative. Like, you're going to go down.
yeah, you're already being taxed, you're already being squeezed, and now they're taxing your hope that, maybe I can get myself out of this situation with just with the right bet. I'm
the right bet, the right parlay. Yeah. And it's because things have gotten so bleak that's the only way people see as a way out. So I think it's our job to try to keep that light on, saying that, hard work still pays off. If you do well in school, you will still be better off. Like, don't listen to all these Jake Paul people saying to just dump all your money in some random crypto thing, because, that's the way out. Yeah.
Yeah, education is going to be still, as it always has been, your best bet if you are not born into wealth and luxury, as most of us aren't.
Sure.
And even if you aren't able to become rich and famous doing it, you're going to be better off as a person. You're going to be able to better yourself and your community. And that's not just, academic education. It's social education. It's the social emotional learning you get when you spend time with other people in a classroom, which is a much greater democratizing force than any of these other things that we're talking about. Because if you're in a classroom, you're all starting off from the assumption that I don't know enough about this. I'm trying to learn. And that's the, some scriptures, like the beginning of wisdom is knowing that you don't know anything.
Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah. Admitting it's okay to be bad at things, I think what COVID kind of also instilled in the next generation is this aversion to any sort of like risk, right? There's this fear, like, of and I get it. Like, during COVID, formative times of your upbringing, you're being told that if you walk outside, you might die, right? And that the world's going to end and stuff. And so suddenly you get really cautious about taking any sort of risk. But I think in learning, right, you have to take risks. You have to fail, and failure is okay. And so we have to kind of like re-teach that to students, that it's okay to it's okay to suck at stuff, because that's the first step to getting good at stuff. I think that's like an Adventure
Jake
Time
the dog.
quote, but that's it. That's it. Yeah, yeah. The first step to getting good at stuff is sucking at stuff. Yeah, you have to be bad. I've had a lot of students I've worked with they'll just put the pen down and be like, I suck at this, I'm not going to do it. And I say, no, 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 no. Come on, come on. You have to be bad at something first, and then that's how you get good at stuff.
Yeah, and that risk thing, it's I'm trying to write a novel right now, and I've had frustration, and I'm like, I'm not a writer, I've never written before. And then I think there are people right now publishing the shittiest garbage AI generated books in the world. Like, why not do it? Your worst is not going to be worse than someone who's not even doing the work. Like,
right.
Make it first and make it perfect later is the saying I've heard. Just do it first. You can
get it out there,
and then get the feedback and improve from there.
Yeah, I think maybe there's like a fear of judgment and stuff. I see this. I produce music as well. It's just kind of a fun little passion of mine. But a lot of my friends who are also producers will have all these great tracks and stuff that they never release. And they'll always be like, oh, it's not done yet. It's not done yet. And I'm like, man, it'll never be done. You need to just put it out there, because at some point, like, all the edits you keep doing to stuff is like putting lipstick on a pig. You need to just start a new song. And your new song will take everything you learned from working on your previous song, and it'll make your new song like infinitely better. But as you're doing this, keep releasing, because you can't build a fan base with zero content. And so even if the content is like quote unquote cringe or quote unquote bad, also what you spoke to earlier here, no one remembers. No one's going to remember that your content was cringe, but you're still going to build an audience, and you're going to build that community you need.
Yeah, it's great streaming advice too for those of you who are out there interested in streaming. You're not going to build a fan base with zero streams. You might not know what you're doing yet, and this is very common in the VTuber space, is people will spend a year or 2 years in pre-debut where they haven't actually debuted yet. They're just, building their assets,
building hype.
They're building hype and networking on social media. I'm like, social media isn't going to build you a fan base. You see people with like 10,000 Twitter followers, and then they do start streaming, and it's like, it's great that you have a couple of viewers, but you spent a lot of time pre-debut.
Yeah.
You could have been streaming all this time and learning and actually growing and figuring things out. Like, I don't have my audio perfect yet, but it's a far sight better than it would have been if I just never tried it. I don't know anything about modeling or the rigging and stuff of a VTuber model, but I can learn and I can commission people and I can just start streaming and do it. That risk of starting is a huge barrier for a lot of people in learning too. People are interested in like learning Japanese. I hear a lot of students, like, they love anime, they love manga, they'd love to learn Japanese. Yeah. It's a really hard language. They're not going to take the step to try. I'm like, why not? Take a class. You can learn right now. I know a streamer right now who's probably streaming a Japanese lesson. They have a master's degree in Japanese language. They teach Japanese. You can just start learning things, going back to what we were talking about. People just don't have that person to motivate them.
Right. To inspire them, to kind of like push them. Yeah. And yeah, a lot of times if we want to go back to it, it's because I was fortunate enough, and I thought this was normal, but I had like parents who liked each other, and I had a mom that was able to stay at home and raise us. My dad was a neurosurgeon, so he was always out working, but I had a parent. In today's society, most kids don't have parents at home, right? You need two parents to be working in order to afford like just living. And so they've kind of lost that, mentor at home to like drive them forward and like inspire them and like tell them to go pick up the cello or like, go learn chess. And so where do they turn to? A lot of times, right? They turn to here on the internet, and they form like some parasocial relation. Exactly. Right. And unfortunately, especially we see this with like young boys and stuff, this then turns into them finding the manosphere of places.
Yeah.
Which I personally know some of these people. They were like roommates of some of my previous roommates. And I understand like why they are so attractive to this group of people, especially like when society has kind of been like downtrodden them or like dismissing their complaints over the years. But I think that's what my inspiration, my motivation to keep doing this is I want to be that mentor or that role model for them that teaches, I hate to say like a father figure for them, that they can, be inspired to, again, like try hard things, fail at things and get better as a person without getting sucked into all the, clickbaity misogyny and stuff that like just drives the algorithm up. So yeah, that's another huge thing I see.
Yeah. I think it's not a stretch to say it as such, as like a father figure. And I think tying it into the, the making mistakes and, not being perfect, people think it's really important, and it is, to have that sort of mentor figure, whether it's an older male figure that is, there to cheer you on, teach you things. Having that figure there when you fail, that you look up at after you've made a mistake, that isn't judging you. That's not, saying what the hell's wrong with you or whatever, like a lot of previous generations fathers might be.
You're weak.
You're weak. What the hell's wrong with you, kid? Calling you names or whatever. Seeing an older parent-like figure, especially an older male figure, see you fail and not judge you, but actually be like, okay, you made a mistake. How can we fix that? That's huge for a lot of those young boys that you see in the classroom who don't have that figure at home or don't see that figure very often, and who are looking instead to the Logan Pauls, the Jake Pauls, the Cliviculars, people like that. Andrew Tates. Yeah, all those.
Yeah, I know.
Who see that weakness and that failure as genuine, like failure as a person, rather than that's normal. I did that too. I screwed that up when I was your age.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a very important thing for us to try to be those role models for them. And then also, I say like a lot of my streams, a lot of my Discord, I say is like kid friendly. It's not necessarily family friendly because, and it's, some people have like, again, super family friendly, streams where, there's no cursing, there's no controversial thing, there's no talk about anything like sexual or whatever, right? Like they keep it like, and that's great. That's good to have those atmospheres and stuff. But what I like try to do in order to get authentic, genuine communication with my community is I allow them to curse. I allow them to talk about like whatever things. And other topics that might be deemed as like, I don't know, like racist or anti-Semitic or whatever. I'm just like, whatever. Like, because if I ban people and like prevent them from speaking, they're just gonna go to Andrew Tate. And so I try to like welcome these people in and like at least maintain a conversation with them so that we can eventually work on like guiding them back towards, some sort of healthy mindset on the world. I've had so many students that have really tested my patience at times, and I've had other students be like, "Yo, ban that guy! Like he's toxic! Like get him out! Like we don't want him here anymore." And I'll be like, "No, no, no! Maybe we'll time him out in the Discord for a bit, whatnot." And those kids, over the years have are now actual, functioning members of society. One of them, even he went back to high school, got his GED, and now he's a corrections officer somewhere in New York. And this is a kid who like multiple times I was like my finger was on the button. I'm like, do I ban this person from my Discord because they're causing a lot of trouble? But it's just a part of growing up, right? It's just hormones and everything. You're gonna say crazy shit and like be toxic at times, but we have to like try to, I don't know, not outcast these people.
It's a hard line to walk when you've got a lot of responsibilities to everyone involved, and you've got
Hmm.
the content you're trying to make and trying to teach a group of people. But yeah, that's how it's going to be in real life for them. They're going to have to be able to work
Yeah.
with and deal with all kinds of different people. Um, it's a difficult balance to walk when it's not really your job as a streamer,
Yeah.
but you've chosen to take that on. When a lot of people in their lives, it is their job. It's their actual teacher's job, and the
Yeah.
teacher isn't getting paid enough to do it. It's their parents'
No.
job, and their parents don't have the time or the money or the resources to deal with it. It would have been
Yeah.
their, whatever community connection they would have had, their job, but that doesn't exist anymore. They don't have the youth baseball league that they can go to anymore. They're not
Right.
going to whatever church they would have gone to.
The YMCA or
The
whatever.
YMCA
Yeah.
was shut down.
I love the Y.
Yeah, for sure.
Boy Scouts. I loved Boy Scouts. I don't even know if Boy Scouts is around anymore, but Boy Scouts, I will hunt, minus all the diddling of kid stuff, but like Boy Scouts was a huge, I'd say, like pillar in my upbringing, and just having those experiences again with other boys your age and like whatever, like locker talk, whatever they talk about, but like just going through that type of shit with those people, I think was huge in like my development as a person, and having those male mentors who are older and stuff to recognize that like when you messed up that like it's okay, but like here we're gonna do it the right way this time.
Yeah, and that's a huge part about that is the self mastery we were talking about. The
Hmm.
teaching people basic skills that might seem simple, but if you teach someone a basic skill and they get it, it's like that sense of self mastery is huge. Like I didn't think I could do this before, but I can.
Yeah.
With any skill that you're practicing, piano, martial arts, ballet, sports, you teach someone some small skill, and it's like you have the ability to do things in your life, even if it seems hard, even if it's so much easier too. Like you've been talking about, swipe away. This is too hard. I don't want to do this. I'm gonna put the pencil down. I'm gonna quit. Hard things can be done, and it's so much more valuable, and you get such a bigger, better dopamine hit than you would get with some of these easier, simpler, free ways that I can just drop $5 on this battle pass or whatever and get my dopamine hit because I get the flashy lights and the colors and it unboxes my loot box and I get a red item. I don't even know, but yeah.
But which doesn't actually really correspond to anything, but yeah, and also I say a big thing, and it's something I see a lot with my students, is self-confidence. Self-confidence, I think, is one of the most important things you can have growing up. And my dad was a big champion of this in he said, in life, make sure that there's at least one thing that you can do very well. And for me, like the thing I knew I could do very well is I could play the cello very well. And so when I went through rough times in my classes, in sports and whatever, I would always fall back on like, wait a minute, I'm a really good cello player. So like there's at least something that I can do very well. That translates to I will be able to do other things well, even if I'm sucking at things currently.
Yeah. Cello stream when? Yeah. We'll have a Dr.
Cello
Gold
stream.
cello stream.
I haven't done it. Yeah, I haven't done a cello stream before. I've done music production streams, but I also do this in my Discord. I motivate the students to, for instance, practice an instrument or what is it like go like do steps and stuff. So we give out points in our Discord for like doing different activities and things. And one of them is, I say, is like a physical fitness challenge. So I have these students post every week how many steps they got, like from their like pedometer. And if they get at least 7,000 steps four times a week, they get points. And then
Nice,
we
very
also
nice.
have like, we have a, what is it called? A music channel. Yeah, music class. So here, like, students will post, even like this is someone doing like some digital music production type things, or although they'll show videos of them. This was one of our students who's in a fife band.
Oh, nice.
And I tell them if they practice an instrument and show me that they practice the instrument on here, they also get points. And those points are then tied to rewards they actually want, because they can get V-Bucks and Robux and whatever and that becomes the motivation structure for them to level up and grind in their real life.
Yeah.
So I think it's about pairing the two.
Use that extrinsic motivation to get someone to reach an intrinsic motivation milestone.
Yes.
Yeah. If you get some sort of interim reward, that will help motivate you to get to the next point where now you're like, well, I can play this song. And you get the intrinsic motivation of that pride and confidence of
you build
having
momentum.
accomplished. Yeah.
No, it's super, super beneficial. I think, I don't know, a lot of students, especially like, the young boys in my Discord, talk about how they're scared to talk to girls, or like they don't know what to talk to. They're like, I don't know what to do. And I say, hey, well, first of all, go up and talk to them, like get some experience with that. But even if you're scared, the number one thing to do is to have self-confidence. And the way to build self-confidence is to be like good at different things, whether that's playing an instrument, playing sports, or, doing fitness or whatever. Those types of things will make you feel, more confident as a person, and you'll feel less afraid to go talk to strangers. And then also you'll have things to talk about. That's what this whole, probably podcast shows, is that we're two people that have enough schema in our life and experiences that we can then have human conversations about random topics.
Yeah. I need to get back to trying to learn piano.
Piano's great.
My neurologist told me it would be good because I had an embolism from COVID.
Oh no.
During that period when I was finishing grad school, and it was in my cerebellum, which is where your fine motor control is. She was like, you should probably try to learn piano or some other instrument where you need your fingers. That would help you keep your hand-eye coordination good. Hands. Yeah. So yeah, maybe I'll
it's a great theory instrument. I tell anyone that's getting into music, or if they want to do production, like learn piano, because it teaches you so much theory of, the harmony versus the melody, how things work. And also, like, there's so much math in music, thirds, fifths, octaves, all these things are math. Yep. And that's what I try to do. I try to show that, like, math isn't just like some specific nerd thing with numbers and pi and like whatever. It's everywhere in our life, and it ties into so many other cool applications that this is why you would want to learn it.
Yeah, I mean, really, everything we're doing right now, the audio is math. If you're looking at the audio setup, that's math and oscillations, and my VTuber avatar is all the math and the 3D
the rigging and all the how much do we flow? Those things are expensive, by the way. I had no clue about the whole VTuber thing until I went to TwitchCon this last year and started talking to some of these VTubers. They'll spend like 10 or 20 grand on that avatar thing. I'm like, what?
Yep. I spent $1,000 and I was lucky to get a good one that has some minor amount of hand tracking. But yeah, people will drop 10K, and I'm like, you're in pre-debut for like a year. Don't you want to get that out there and like use it and get people to see it and check it out?
Yeah.
You're spending a lot of money.
Build it.
You're investing a lot of time and money.
That may not work, right?
Yeah.
It's another big thing I tell students is, like, you need to just try stuff. You can be stuck in this analysis paralysis of trying to pre-plan your big whatever that you're trying to do, but just A/B test. Just go out and do things. And you might find out right away that, like, oh, I actually don't like playing the cello at all. Maybe I should go like learn the sax or something. Yeah. You have to go do things.
You have to go do things. Maybe you like the process of creating music, but you don't actually like playing an instrument. There's a lot of stuff you can do in music that doesn't have anything to do with playing an instrument. You can be in production. You can be in audio engineering. But if you don't try something, you're never going to know. It's you talk about A/B testing. That's what gets you more and more closely connected to your target, what's actually going to be interesting and fun for you within that whatever genre it is. Sports. A lot of people I grew up with love sports. Maybe didn't have the talent, maybe didn't really enjoy playing, but they love being involved in sports. People got involved in as athletic trainers or as coaches. There's a lot of things you can do. My roommate went into sports management, so like there's a lot of stuff you can do with whatever field you want to get into. But if you sit on the sidelines, so to speak, in the sports analogy, you're not going to figure that stuff out. You're not going to gain any confidence.
Yeah, you're just going to sit there being like, what if, what if, what if, what if?
What if for the rest of your life?
Yeah, you got to. I have 5 sisters. I'm the only boy in my family.
Oh my God.
And I'm the oldest. Yeah. So my dad was like very set on trying to make me like good at sports. He, like, God bless his soul, everything would always start out with I would play that sport at the YMCA. And then I would try to like shift over to like a competitive league of sorts. And then it would always end up in failure. But no matter what, like my dad was like building batting cages. He was like putting up the basketball hoop. He tried to get me to do all these sports and I tried all of them. But every time I switched to the professional one, in baseball, we lost every single game. And I got smacked in the teeth by a baseball bat in the dugout. So I was like, okay, I'm done with this. But it was funny. I had to at least try all those things. Yeah. So I have no regrets. Like I like sports. I'm absolutely terrible at playing them, but I'm glad that I tried all of them at least.
Yeah. I've talked about that in the context of, well, first I have 3 sisters, and a stepsister and a half sister, and I'm the oldest.
Oh, you also have a lot of sisters.
Also,
you
a
also
lot of
have
sisters.
5 sisters.
Yeah. But I've talked about that in the context of streaming, where people think they want to get involved in streaming, but it's a saturated market. It's hard to gain viewers. Mm-hmm. They don't want to do it. Like most people who try streaming do fail in the sense that if you consider failure, that they eventually quit.
They give up. Yeah.
They give up. And sometimes it is okay to give up if you have learned something. I liken it to the sports thing. How many youth soccer players are there versus how many of them actually get to any level of professional play?
Yeah, or NBA.
But how many of them say, I wish I hadn't played sports as a kid? Most of them don't.
None of them. Yeah.
If you are doing these things with the right intention of, I want to stream because maybe I'll meet some people. It's fun. I'll be able to get some of my content out there. It's great practice for public speaking. It's great practice for public presentation. It's great for your confidence to just chat with people, because otherwise it's going to be dead air, and then you really will fail. Just get out there and
you
do
talk
stuff.
To the void for a lot too. You talk to the void. I say this to all streamers. I don't know. When did you start like streaming on Twitch?
About 2.5 years ago.
Okay, cool. Yeah, mine was like 2021. Yeah, right during COVID. But yeah, I would say for the first year and a half, man, I had maybe 2 viewers in any of my streams, like at any point in time. It's a lot of talking to the void. You got to get you get like your streaming legs, I say per se, because you learn how to be comfortable with just talking to like blank into nothing.
Yeah.
But if you keep doing that and you're not so focused on the results, they call it like outcome oriented. If you're not so focused on like this has to work, I have to become big, I have to make money, things will grow naturally. To the point where if I hop on any stream, I'm gonna have at least 15, 20 people always watching me, which I think is amazing. I'm like, oh wow. During the hype of like school season, I think on YouTube I was pulling like 400 or 500, which to me was insane. I was like, oh, wow. Like, but that comes only with persistence, right? Consistency, discipline, and like the number one thing I try to tell students is like perseverance. Like you have to keep trying. If it's hurting your mental health, I get it. Maybe like cut your losses at some point. But otherwise, if you keep showing up and trying, eventually the universe will reward you for those efforts. It may be a couple years. Mr. Beast, I think, had like nothing for the first 5, and now he's like who he is. You just got to keep trying.
Yeah. I mean, it's the, you give up right before you reach the diamonds or whatever the meme is.
Yes, dude, that meme. We love that meme. I love that meme.
Yeah. You'll never know. And even if you don't reach there, you've gained the experience and the work. You're doing all that digging. You're building up your muscles, so to speak, in the sense of learning to talk, learning to be comfortable talking to yourself or to the void or to a handful of people. You're learning a lot about production. That exact one right there.
It's too funny. I love this one.
If you do any kind of content, you're learning about content production. You're learning about audio. You're learning about video. You're learning about all these different applications and programs. You're learning about the algorithm. You're learning about social media. Those are all useful tools to have in your kit for any other job you might get in the future. You get a job in an office that's going to be useful.
Or marketing, or like, again, and when I first started streaming, right? my setup was just a laptop, right? I was just doing, a single laptop with, maybe like a trackpad and stuff. And then eventually I was like, okay, maybe I'll get like a webcam or something, right? And then okay, maybe I'll get another monitor. And then, but this only happens over the last like 5 years that we've been doing it. My current setup I'll show is this. This is
Yeah,
what
very
this has
nice.
like become, right?
Yeah.
It started out with just a laptop. Now it's like 6 screens, like all these lights, all these things and stuff. But that's only over time, and just you build that through like being persistent.
Yeah. That's a great illustration of the balance that it requires, in that there are some people who will, like you said, they drop like 10 grand on a model, and then they'll build
Yeah.
themselves a little studio, and they've got this massive setup. And
Oh
I'm like,
man.
you haven't really done anything yet.
And then they'll
Maybe
find out
try
they hate it or
building that.
something. Yeah, next week they'll be like, "Oh, this isn't for me," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Man, it's the same thing in the DJ world." I tell everyone that wants to get into DJing, you can buy a controller for like $200, and like you can find out really quickly if you want to DJ. But some people will go out and spend 4 grand on like the full setup, and then they'll just give it up like a year later. And I'm like, man, no, like gradually get into these hobbies. Money doesn't fix everything. You can't just keep throwing money at problems.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got enough of it, sure. But I'm guessing most
Sure.
of you don't have $10,000 to drop on whatever that hobby is, just to drop
Right.
the hobby. I mean, if you've got
Yeah.
Mr. Beast money, but by then you've already done a lot of the work.
Mr. Beast never had Mr. Beast money,
No.
Mr. Beast, he only has money because he never had it to begin with. Yeah. And he's a great case study, right? Because all the money he made, he just dumped right back into his stream. Like every time he made money, he just gave it away. He just gave it away. They and that just like kept building the hype. So like I've seen some friends in hobbies where one of my good friends, he was in the kind of a DJ scene. He was starting to like blow up and stuff, and he got booked for a gig at like some club, and they were going to give him 2 grand to play. And he was like, "Sweet, 2 grand! It's finally making money. I'm going to pocket it." And that was the last big gig he ever played.
Hmm.
And the reason was because when he played that gig, no one really showed up. And I'm like, okay, dude, you should have taken that 2 grand and you should have spent it on marketing for your show, so that
Yeah.
you could show people that you get people to come. I would have even just bought tickets. I would be like, here, I'm just going to buy 100 tickets and give them out for free, so
Hmm.
that the promoter sees that 100 people showed up to see me. So it's about having that long-sighted vision of don't take the one candy now, wait for the 3, and
Exactly.
keep reinvesting the small profits you make now to make even bigger profits at the end.
Yeah. And it is believing in yourself, which is something that is a skill that is learned. It isn't something that is inherent. We're all, I think, inherently a little bit insecure, and learning to believe in
Yeah.
yourself and have that confidence
Imposter
comes
syndrome.
with, imposter syndrome. It comes with the practice of doing things and failing and seeing that it's okay to fail, and learning small skills, mastering those small skills. And that's all stuff that starts early on, and it starts in the schools. And unfortunately, teachers just don't have the resources or the time. They've got my
Yeah.
student teaching semester. I had one class that was 65 students, and it was K through 4, so 5 different grade levels, 60 kids in
Wow.
one gymnasium.
In
I'm like,
in one class?
in one class.
Sorry, in one setting, you had 60 students from that
From
huge
K
of
to
an
4.
age.
Yeah,
Wow.
all in one regular small size gymnasium. And you've got to be able to, I mean, you have your cooperating teacher there, of course, and you've got the other student teacher with you, but that's
Yeah.
60 kids in one gymnasium that you've all got to keep on task, playing the game, monitoring their physical activity and their movement. Are
Yeah.
they getting the good biomechanics? Are they learning the skill? Like, do you really think that teacher has time to do a lot of the social emotional learning or monitor those kids'
No.
personal development? If they just don't.
A lot of that was supposed to be done at home, right? So
Yeah.
my one of my sisters was a math teacher. She quit because the environment was just getting so toxic. Like the kids, she said, were just demons.
Hmm.
And I was saying, and the problem is that like the administration wouldn't back her up, right? They would be like, "Oh, this must be your fault," not like the kids were writing death threats like to
Mhm.
her, like on her desk and stuff. And these are like 6th graders. And the issue here is that like it used to be, right? We had parents at home that would raise the social and personal development of the kids, and then the teacher's only job was really to just make sure that the education part of math and science, whatever, happened. But now, because both parents have to work a job, or some of these kids don't have parents, And again, they're being influenced by like God knows what on the internet, besides us. That responsibility is now getting brunted and thrown onto the teachers, and then the teachers are getting no support. They're getting blamed, if anything, and then they're quitting in droves. They're just like, I'm done. I'm burnt. Like, peace.
Yeah, and then the teacher shortage hits, and then they wonder, all these teachers that have the experience are quitting early, are retiring early. They can't bring in new teachers. What are they going to do? And they have to bring in teachers who don't even have degrees in some cases.
Just increase the class sizes, just make it like 50, 60, 70, whatever, just bump it up. I think one of my friends who teaches at UCSD, her class is 300 people in a lecture hall. I'm just like, what? It's insane.
Yeah, and the more time you make the teachers spend on the SEL stuff, the less time they have for the academic aspect. So some of the teachers are really good at building the person's personal development, but then they don't have the time to spend on building the core skills of math and science.
What even the classes, or so many of my students in my Discord talk about, because I ask them, because they'll come to my stream and they'll say like, hey, I don't get this. And sometimes they're so lost and they're so like, I don't understand any of this. I ask them, I say, what are you learning in class? Like, what is your teacher doing? And they say, oh, the teacher just puts a YouTube video up and then tells us to watch it and then says we can ask questions. What? Why is your teacher not teaching? And maybe the teacher's burnt out because maybe the teacher's having to deal with all these committees and meetings and like, I don't know, whatever else is going on with admin these days. So education is in, like, I would say, like, free fall at this point. It's a very dire situation that like we have to like pick up the slack and like prop up to catch, I guess, the fallout from what's happening.
Yeah, and our hope, of course, is that this inspires other people to get involved if they have some sort of educational background. And I want to make clear, you don't have to be a teacher to do educational content. You don't have to be a professor. You don't have to have a teaching degree. If you have expertise in an area, there are a lot of people who are great at teaching who don't have a teaching background, but they just have great expertise in a subject area. You can do educational content. You can start streaming about your special interest, the thing that you know about, and help give people useful skills, things that you think, well, they wouldn't teach that in school. Well, no, they're probably not going to teach pottery in school unless you have a great arts department, which arts are the first thing that gets axed in a school.
Yeah, that gets axed, yeah.
It's, art, clubs, health and PE.
We got to keep the football team, though.
Got to keep the football team.
At all costs.
Build a new stadium.
Pay the coach $300,000.
Yeah, I mean, the highest paid employee in the state is probably going to be your football coach.
It's ridiculous.
But if you have a special interest, if you have a job that you are, especially if you have a career where you feel like you can teach people about it, great, because the value of degrees is unfortunately being diluted because, I mean,
kids are speed running also.
Kids are speed running those.
At this point.
That story came out recently.
It did. Did you see it in the Washington Post, I think?
Yeah.
It's because now, man, I hate this because universities used to be kind of more focused on being environments where, you would foster genuine learning and collaborative nature, and like you get involved with research and, great discoveries are being made. And then I don't know what happened, but it started becoming more financially driven. And at this point, they don't really even care about the teaching. They just care about how many kids can we get to like roll to pay tuition and then keep paying tuition. So, they have these online courses that students can take where they're not learning anything. I know they're just clicking next. Like it's one of those HR sexual harassment videos. They're just like, all right, just get me through this thing. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, give me my degree.
Yeah. And then, so the actual expertise, the skill of a job, if you can teach that to somebody, if you, programming is a great example because that's something that you can just build as a skill. You can just learn. If you can learn that from someone in this great environment that we've been talking about, and then when you get to that interview and they actually test you on something and you know how to do it, rather than, you get into that interview and you freeze because I was just vibe coding all this stuff before and I was just clicking next in the video.
I was just vibing.
I thought I knew all about this stuff. But then you get into that interview and they ask you the practical, questions. That's not going to get you the job.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to do things. This is a big thing also even when like I tutor and like teach kids. I say there's a difference between active learning and passive learning. A lot of students think they can just like read a book or like watch a video or like go through some slides and they'll learn. And I say, cool. That's maybe like 20% of learning. The 80% that actually, commits it to memory and commits it to an ability that you can reproduce it is that you need to do the homework. You have to actually sit down, pen and paper, and do the question. Because if all you do is read through the book and like look at the solution sheet to the practice exam, the second you get put an exam in front of you, you're going to lock up. And this is when students talk about like test anxiety and stuff. I say you get rid of test anxiety from being comfortable being in that situation of taking a test.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is, again, to practice doing the questions. And then when the test gets given to you, you're gonna be like, oh, this is just like another day, me at home at my desk, just like doing problems, like whatever, it's cool.
Yeah. You should be able to, at any time, someone walk by your desk, drop a problem in front of you and be like, yeah, I mean, I know the fundamental question this is asking. It doesn't matter what the different variables are or the numbers are in it. I know the formulas. I know how the process goes. I can answer this question. Then your anxiety is gone. It's like you get rid of jitters in sports by doing it over and over again.
Confidence.
Yeah.
It's all self-confidence. I tell, that's my number one thing. If people have test anxiety, you don't have confidence in yourself to do the questions. And you need to build that by doing questions.
Yeah. And then also one thing I like to do, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well, is getting other people to teach. It's the rubber duck thing, like the rubber duck programming.
What's the rubber duck? Wait, what's the
rubber duck programming it comes from programming, but it's something that I use as well, just in regular teaching. It's explain how to do this problem to whatever stuffed animal is sitting on your desk. Like I've got, my friend bought me this little glaceon. Explain this problem here.
Oh, that's so cool.
Teach them how to do it, because you learn from teaching even more than you learn from, reading. If you understand a problem well enough that you could explain it to someone else, or if you are having trouble comprehending a passage in a book, read that first. Oh my God, Don Factorial rating with a party of 19. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for
Don?
Bringing your class on a field trip to ours.
Hey, Don.
Yes, Dr. Oro is here. Thank you so much. It's great to have you here with us in our little classroom learning community here, talking with Dr. Gold of Actual Education. We were just talking about instilling self-confidence in students. We were talking about rubber duck programming, something that Dr. Gold had not heard of prior. I was talking about how a great way to get people to learn something is to have them teach it to someone else, like whether it's a little glaceon that they've got on their desk or a little Trixie there.
I need an animal on my desk now. I'm just like, wait, I need something. Yeah.
I would have my ferrets in their little pen over here, but they make so much noise scrabbling around trying to get over their little enclosure. It would be way too loud. But yeah, so rubber duck programming is programmers would keep a little rubber duck on their desk, maybe on top of their monitor. If they're debugging something, they can't find it, they explain each line of code to the rubber duck, because as you're explaining it, then you start reading, you're like, no, that's where the problem is. That's not right. That's where the bug is. So rubber duck programming or teach the teacher sort of things, that I find is very useful, because that gives confidence, because now you're putting that student in a role of, well, I'm the teacher. I've got that kind of mastery. It's the same as when you ask a student to be your helper. Would you be my helper today? And like, oh yeah, I'll be your helper. Or like after church or something, when you ask the kid to help pick up the chairs, and like, haha, I'm carrying all the chairs or something. You give that kid that special role. They feel, special and
purpose and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Give them that sense of purpose.
Yeah. I think, it's people truly know things when they can teach it to others. And it's something I definitely love seeing in my Discord, when some students will submit a question and maybe I'm not on the stream to answer it, but then other people will chime in and start explaining it to the student. And that's like, the truest sign of mastery and knowing the material. And also, students are more likely to listen to other students. Yes. So, because I guess they don't feel like as judged, right? I would never go to my professors in college because I didn't want them to know that I was an imposter syndrome idiot, like who somehow was sneaking my way through quantum or whatever. But I learned heavily from having my friends in my classes teach the material to me as we were like doing the homework and stuff. And they did very well in the classes. I did well enough to get into grad school at least. But so it's something I also tell a lot of my students in my Discord is, I encourage them to go and help other students. And if they do it in my server, I give them points for doing it. I don't like explicitly advertise it, but if I see like a certain student take the time out of their life to go explain to another student how to do a question, I'm like, cool, here's some more points that you can use. And it's a reward system for them to redeem for things they actually want.
Yeah, again, uses the extrinsic motivation as the stopgap to bring them to the intrinsic motivation of that pride of, I was able to help someone. Like, I must really know my stuff if I'm able to help someone else do it. Then they've got the confidence if that question comes up for them in a test, like, well, I've got this. I could teach this to someone else. I could teach this class.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the entire conversation really continues to come back to self-confidence, and it's really because there's such a lack of it in the students right now, because there's so much judgment and there's so much hopelessness.
They're also comparing themselves constantly to things that aren't real, right?
Yeah.
This is the problem with AI, right? Anyone can now fake whatever. And I question half the content I see on my feed as like, is this real or not? But also on social media, right? People only portray the best versions of themselves. They don't ever show the struggle. They don't ever show the failures. And so people are tricked. And I've become a victim of this myself. They're tricked into thinking that, they're a nobody. Like, oh, you're not special because someone else is way more special than you. Comparison is the thief of joy, is what I say, So, and it's hard, right? It's hard to teach someone to not look at others to judge yourself. But yeah, I'm a huge proponent of like, just look at what you did yesterday. Are you doing better today? Great. I even have a challenge in my Discord because I hate New Year's resolutions. I think they're terrible because people come up with these big, huge, lofty goals, and then they fail within like the first week or two. So I created a new challenge at the beginning of the year. I called it like actual resolutions, where I had the students come up with just one goal, like one thing they wanted to do at the end of 12 weeks. And then from that, I had them break it down to what would you do after the first 4 weeks? What would you do after the first 8 weeks? What would you finally get done by the last 12? And I think taking like a single goal that 12 weeks is enough time to get something significant done, but not too much time that it becomes some lofty, not attainable thing. And then breaking that down into steps. And then every 4 weeks, I would have them check in and I would have them write out, okay, what are some things I accomplished in the last 4 weeks? What are some things I could have done better? How am I going to improve myself for the next 4? And it's amazing how much good it'll do for you to just look back, and they call this like gratitude, right? To say like, oh, I actually did these things. I'm not a loser. I'm not like, a complete failure at life, and I can do the next thing now.
I completely agree. I've done New Year's lessons each year about how most New Year's resolutions fail because number one, that's such a long period of time.
Yeah.
And number two, it's an arbitrary starting point. You're not starting that resolution because I really want to do this thing. You're starting the resolution because, it's the first of the year. What does that have to do with anything? Are you, in health behavior, we talk about the stages of change. When people are in pre-contemplation, or that they are in contemplation, or that they are actually ready to begin doing that, whatever health behavior change it is, it's never going to line up. Nobody ever lines up with they're exactly ready to make that change in their health behavior, whether it's starting a fitness routine, quitting smoking, whatever it is, on the first of the year. It's an arbitrary point. Maybe it's a good time to start thinking about it, but I would rather you start a goal the 2nd of January. I will tell people, start your goal on the 2nd of January.
Give yourself the first off.
Give yourself the first day off. It's not even a New Year's resolution now. It's your personal resolution. It's, I want to do this because I'm ready to change. I'm ready to make this change.
Yes.
And breaking up into much shorter periods of time is definitely a great way. I like that a lot.
You got to have the ladders. Yeah. And also it helps. I do this with, I have like a journal. I have like a physical copy of a journal that I've been buying this journal for like the last 7 years. And it's the only way that I manage all the different aspects of my life, right? Because I have the nonprofit. I also have, I have another company called Gold Life that I do with like raves and partying and DJ stuff. And then also there's fitness, right? Fitness is a whole other job that I think some people just check out and don't like employ themselves in. And then there's also like financial. But so like I'll set like 4 goals every 12 weeks. And it does amazing wonders, because otherwise, without having that accountability of you like writing things down, time will just slip away, and suddenly you'll blink and you'll be, I don't know, 40 or 50 or whatever. And you'll be like, wait, what did I do? So I'm a huge proponent for like using some sort of journal. And also I'm a huge proponent of manifestation, because what this journal has you do is, yes, you'll plan out 4 goals for 12 weeks, but then you'll also say, okay, what's my 1-year goal? What's my 5-year goal? Or not goal. So like, what does your life look like in a year? What does your life look like in 5 years? And just writing down like what you want your life to look like in 1 year, and then you read this like every week, you end up reading what you wrote down. It tricks your brain into subconsciously finding out a way to get there. You may not realize it. You're like, oh, I'm just reading this thing about, oh, I have no more credit card debt, and like I own a Porsche, or like blah blah blah. But then you'll find out in like a year, I'll look at my old notebooks and I'll be like, wow, a lot of this stuff actually came true. I just had to write it down, and then my brain knew to go get it.
Yeah, if you leave things unstated, if you leave things vague, then your path is going to be vague. If you don't actually set your compass to wherever you want to go, you have these long-term, not goals, but visions, I would say is what it's more
Visions,
described
yeah.
as, your vision for where you want to
Yeah.
be. Then you have the
Yeah.
goals, which are those year things, but then you have those objectives like we were talking about, the shorter term. What's your objective? Milestones. What's your measurables? And that leads to mastery. If you can make it to one measurable first, then you're like, okay, I've taken that step. I've made it to something that I can actually quantify and look at. Fitness is an easy example because it's all numbers involved. It's all,
I would say, yeah, and the mirror doesn't lie, right? I take pictures of myself all the time, and I'm just like, oh man, I was in great shape in 2023. I was in terrible shape in 2025, and you can see the trajectory. It's so powerful.
It absolutely is. And I think what we're doing here and what you're doing with your nonprofit, with the channel, is very powerful as well. And I think that there is value that needs to be more further researched, that needs to be studied, because I think there's opportunities here that are being missed by academia by sort of skipping this opportunity, the live streaming world, and going to things like AI agents for learning, which is a big research topic right now, where you can still have the human being involved in the virtual education sphere, and it's much more powerful. And I think that's
AI is just sexier to VC.
It is.
VC loves the word AI. You see the word AI. Did you see this with like Allbirds, right? Stock was down to be like absolutely zero, and then they rebranded themselves as an AI company. Suddenly it just like bumps up. And it's like, wait, what? You just said the word AI. That means nothing.
It's just like the Lois Griffin clip where she's like AI, or instead of 9/11, and then the crowd cheers.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe this is again one of these, whether than fight it, join it type things. Maybe we need to start advertising more as like, I know Zach will hate me on this. Zach is so anti-AI, but I'm thinking, because I love that you talk about like getting research involved, right? You talk about like you're writing white papers about having these things studied. Maybe if we started, incorporating at least the buzzwords in some sorts of like AI, maybe we could then start attracting the attention, the investment that is needed in order to validate, hey, like the human interaction is very important, and like this is kind of a hybrid system that really works for helping kids.
Or whether it's as an augment, as an after school possibility, as a way to reach students who, if they're sick, they can't get to their physical school very often. Kids in rural situations that maybe their brick and mortar school doesn't offer the kind of class that you're teaching. They don't have that kind of specialized service. Students who have behavioral issues and who might be more comfortable in an online space. All of those students are potentially left behind by traditional schooling or traditional online education. And so, I think that's a great possibility.
AI could be the great equilibrator. What do they call it? Yeah, like just like leveling the playing field at least.
Yeah.
That's what I always see. I say again, and even when I work with my students, I try to show them that AI can be used in good ways, it can be used in bad ways. If you're trying to like do a homework question and you're getting stuck and whatnot, you should 100% use AI to see how it does it, and then reference it to try to do it yourself. Don't just copy the answer and like turn in your homework. You're not getting anything. You're not getting anything out of that. The illusion the metaphor I always say is that AI is like a forklift. It's really good at lifting heavy things. But if you go to the gym with a forklift, like sure, you'll be able to quote unquote bench like 515. but you're not building any muscle having a forklift lift weights for you. You have to lift the weights.
Yeah.
And so AI can be, for instance, that spotter that, helps you out, like when you're doing,
Negatives
a
or
set to failure or something, or
Yeah.
negatives. Exactly. Yeah. Something that just helps you to get stronger and can provide that, that safety net so that you're not going to fail your classes, because you will always have someone to like help you there to learn.
Yeah, I think even if it's just comparison, even if the research is just, let's compare traditional in-person class, brick and mortar, to traditional online asynchronous, watch the recorded lecture and engage in the study or the whatever you post on the little Canva thing or whatever, versus
the little discussion
thing
board
that nobody ever wants to
Yeah.
do, versus
which
a live
everyone
stream
uses
class.
AI to come up with the responses anyways.
Exactly. Versus an
It's like
AI
AI talking to each other.
version. Even if you're just incorporating AI into your comparison in the research, well, then that's getting solid data points on how well an AI class might actually work, if any at all, versus the traditional classroom, versus a live stream type of classroom, versus some kind of hybrid system. It's all data. It's all, even if your research doesn't prove your hypothesis, it's research.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big thing in science. Like, people don't like posting data, right, that like disproves their theory, but and it is a problem. But you need that. Like, our hypotheses are not always correct, and so getting negative things that like don't support your hypotheses is still valuable information, because then it's like, okay, it's not this. That's what was that? I think it was like Edison or something. It says it's not that I've succeeded; it's that I've found 1,001 ways that don't work.
Yeah, you're honing in on what does work. Maybe what you find does work a little bit, but it at least gives you the idea of, okay, well, how do I tweak it? It's like drug research. You test a new drug. What kind of works? Well, now let's test a different dosage. Now let's test this drug in comparison with another drug. Do we take it twice a day? Do we take it once a day? Do we take it with food, without food? You start to hone in on what the most efficacious way is to do it. But you have to start with that first study. You have to do it first. Otherwise, you don't have a ground floor to work with.
Right. You have no background information. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this has been an excellent ground level discussion to get this conversation started. And
yeah,
I've really enjoyed this particular conversation because it touched on a lot of things that I've felt in
we
my
did so
streaming.
much.
We covered a wide range of topics today, which I think was fantastic. Coming from,
I'm glad that they covered the things in your stream though. I need to watch more of your streams about the health and wellness stuff you guys do.
Yeah, I think it does dovetail nicely with a lot of even though they're two very different subjects, the problems, the root causes are still the same. Like, it's lack of confidence. It's, lack of teachers having the resources. It's insecurity and social issues,
psychological things.
Yeah,
I say half my tutoring is psychiatry. It's like it's not being a good tutor isn't being the kid with the 1600 SAT and like the smartest math guy in the world. It's can you relate to someone who's struggling and like understand them and come up with the psychiatry to inspire them to get better. I'd say it's 50-50. It's not. I'm by no means the smartest person out there when it comes to physics or math, and like. I will get humbled a lot of times on my stream, like even like Breasticles, who's in the chat here. He's a kid in college, and he will just like quote unquote like embarrass me sometimes with questions where I'm like, I can't even do this. Like, this is impressive. You can do this. But what makes me unique, and I think is something I aspire to have other people pick up, is you have to be willing to be able to like communicate to other people and be willing to struggle and normalize that that's okay. And then that provides empathy with whoever you're trying to teach, that they can learn and struggle as well.
Yeah, that's actually something. One last thing I guess we can touch on is that sort of relatability is also important, to be real with someone and acknowledge, I don't know all this stuff. I don't know everything. I can fail too. I can be wrong as the teacher. Like, I'm not going to be perfect, and neither are you.
Neither are you. It's fine. Yeah, our teachers aren't like gods.
No.
I remember in calculus, like, it was really in college. So in high school, a lot of the material is pretty chill. that like teachers don't mess up that much, right? So you start thinking that like teachers are like a beacon of truth and everything they say must be correct. But then I remember getting to college and it was like my first class in like quantum mechanics or something, and the teacher just like blanked and just could not, like, literally up on the board trying to do a question to like teach the lecture and just kept getting like the wrong answer. And he's like, huh. Yeah, he's like, I don't know. And I was like, whoa, what? And it was strange to me at the time, but I do it all the time on my streams. I mess up all the time. I draw blanks, but it's showing to the students that like that's normal. I don't get embarrassed. It's not cringe to me. And then a lot of times I will use AI to try to teach myself and show the students like this is how you could, it's like the same thing as when we would like go to the library or something. This is how you can go find the information to teach yourself the ability to go do this. And it's okay to struggle.
It's okay to struggle, and especially because if you don't admit that, you're not going to take the step to take all of those amazing resources that are available to you that we've been talking about, all these different places that you can go and get, learning from.
Like this stream right here.
Like this stream right here.
Stream right here.
This stream right here. I think everyone in this stream will be moved up to the top of the chart. If you remember this kind of thing from your K through 12 education, where you would get your clip moved up and down by the teacher, depending on how you behaved that day.
Oh, I never had this in school.
You never had that in school?
You had a leaderboard? You had like a leaderboard?
It was like you would be moved down to red if you were bad that day. So that would be like you would get demerits or you would get your parents called. Nowadays we've avoided that. We've moved away from that because of the judgmental sense that it gives people.
I think we need to bring shame back. Honestly,
we do this.
Hot take here. I think we need shame.
We do need a little bit more shame. We do it now, especially in my genre of teaching. It's self-assessment, where you move your clip up and down based on how you feel, and you will find that students are very honest with themselves when it is their choice. They'll be like, you know what, I didn't have a great day. I didn't do very well today. You know what, I do belong in orange tier. We make it fun, and it's different at video game characters that fit that sort of. Were you a troublemaker today, or were you really helpful? And did you help your other students? It's valuable to give people that sort of the ability to assess themselves and to grade themselves.
Yeah.
Obviously, their main grade is the teacher's grade of them, but giving them a little bit of influence in that process is actually pretty powerful, and they feel empowered to be like, God, you know what? I didn't do very well today, and that's okay. There's always room for improvement. You know what? If you did great, you should recognize that. You should reward yourself and be like, you know what? I did really well today. I'm going to put myself up here. And I think everyone here today belongs way up on the top of the chart. So that's what I will do. I will put a little clip with your name on it and put it on the top of the chart.
Oh, I love that. Oh, man. This is my first time on the chart, and I'm already starting at the top. Wow.
Yeah, you are up there with Angus from Night in the Woods and some of our other favorite game characters in the class. But Rusticles remembers that. Yeah, it was a real source of anxiety back then. Like, oh my God, please, Miss Johnson, don't move my clip down. You're going to call my parents. Yeah. So we've moved away from that.
That's too funny. Yeah.
But
nowadays, I think, unfortunately, like.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go on. You're good. No, you're good.
You're doing such great incentivizing things with the Discord and the points that you're using. So I think that that it's just a great evolution of it, and it's playing on what you've been talking about. Use the systems that are already there. Use the things that are kids are already primed for that kind of thing. They're primed for that kind of gamification. They're primed for that kind of incentivization. Go ahead and use that. Why not?
It's there. Like I say, we're silly to ignore it, and we should just use it. Billions of dollars have already been spent. Let's just piggyback on their research.
Yeah. Marketing has spent, like you said, billions to learn how to manipulate people's minds, sell things. Gambling has, become its own, I guess, pillar of our economy now.
Its own beast.
It is its own beast. But why don't we give you the opportunity to tell us where we can find you, what you're doing next, and what we can expect.
Yeah, nice. Okay, awesome. Yeah. So if anyone ever wants to find out, I created like just a website here that this is how students actually submit all their questions is by going to this website, actualofficehours.com. So but it has a lot of links on it, which are really cool. So this is where students during our streams will like put their username in, they can drop in a screenshot, upload it, and then it gets added to a fun little queue that during our streams, we will use gambling mechanics to pick questions to work on. But on this website, you can also click here on the streaming schedule. And this is a website that shows all the different streams that have been happening throughout the week and all the ones that'll happen next week. So if you ever want to, I don't know, got some free time, and you're wondering, oh, where could I go learn some cool stuff or watch some guys do math? They're on here. So we have a lot of great friends here: Penn Center, E2I Ian Stuckey, Math Pond. Also, I invite anybody who's watching who is also a streamer and would like to get added to this calendar. Like, please reach out to me. It's something that I've wanted to build out a lot, to have some sort of central calendar that's easy for us to all share audiences. Because I say all boats rise with the tides. So if we all have different communities, but I think we're all related to each other on a common goal of wanting to like improve ourselves and like learn new things. So I'm happy to collaborate with other streamers if they want to get added to that. And then, yeah, of course, if you're a student and you're looking to earn some prizes for doing well in school, or even just going out touching grass, playing a musical instrument, please like join our Discord. It's a great community here. Even if you're not a student, if you just want to like hang out with some other cool people like Breasticles, myself, Sensation, we're all here on Discord. It's a great community, and invite you to join there. And then, yeah, we also, if you ever need like help with like short videos and stuff, we have a YouTube channel, which has been doing pretty well, where we'll do these fun little tutorial videos on common topics that people get like hung up on. So for instance, like, volumes of revolution, this is one of these that we'll do. And so I invite, like, if you're ever like confused on a topic, you can always go to our YouTube and you can hit here on search and we probably have it. So like some of the common things people get hung up on are like, I don't know, like fractions or something. You type in fractions, there's a bunch of videos here on like, multiplying fractions, how to deal with fractions, asymptotes, whatever. So that's our YouTube channel. And then also, I say this a lot to even my adult learners. We have what's called like a math boot camp that we've developed. It's totally free. And so what it is it's a series of lectures and like courses that I always give for my first week of teaching at UCLA. And it's to get students the core math skills they need in order to do like science. In my case, it's whatever core math skills students need to learn in order to just do like intro physics. And so you can join. It's totally free. And it has a series of like different chapters, which these are all things that I show to my students at UCLA when I teach for the first week. Also, because the first week, you don't really want to actually get into what the material is for the course, because people are always like switching classes, or they're dropping, or they're adding. So I use this as a time to kind of catch everyone up. So if you've forgotten, or you're rusty again with, how do I work with exponents, this is all material that like I've written that I use to teach people how to get up to date with it. So, yeah. And then if you want to learn more about me, the bio's there. We have our TikTok account. You can go add me on LinkedIn. Let's be friends on LinkedIn. I'm having to play the corporate game of getting exposure, and all my friends on LinkedIn help with that. And then some people like to read my thesis or whatnot. It's on there as well. So
I couldn't agree more. Fembox, awesome setup. Just keeps getting better.
Appreciate it, Fem.
Yeah, there's some great resources that Dr. Gold and Actual Education are providing. And I have been very happy to have hosted you today and have this great conversation, and to give you another little platform to show people what you do, and the fact that there's some great stuff out there that you can watch instead of just doom scrolling or watching the Fruit Island,
the feet pics and the thirst trap. Oh, the Fruit Island stuff. No, that stuff was terrible. Oh man, we're like the strawberry and the banana and the babies in orange, and you're like, stop.
Yeah. Please don't.
Stop.
Wow. I thought that it would get better after like the Will Smith eating spaghetti was the original like AI horror video. No, it's actually worse. It's actually worse now.
It's gotten worse.
The uncanny valley is worse. But we had a great conversation, and I want to thank you again for joining us, and all of the viewers for supporting us and for supporting Dr. Gold and Actual Education and the Knowledge Fellowship. Henry Barra, I know that I can have faith in you, but I don't necessarily have faith in the average person scrolling through TikTok. Unfortunately, I think
Yeah, everyone here is great. You guys you're already the top 1% of the population.
Really?
If you're
Really?
already here in the chat, you're already doing amazing for yourself.
You absolutely are. And if you are not in the Knowledge Fellowship Discord out there, you can join up and you can see some of your favorite educational streamers. You can become an educational streamer, nominate yourself for membership, and we might see you in Dr. Gold's chair right there and have a little platform for you. I would love to interview some of the more up and coming streamers, some new people who are just getting going, who would like to get just a little bit of attention. A lot of streamers, they're just getting started. One of the hardest things is getting any kind of initial attention. I would love to be able to give you that that platform and help you get out your content. Yeah, you can check out the
always
Knowledge
trying to
Fellowship
recruit
stream
more.
team. Yes,
We're always trying to recruit more math and science streamers. Yeah, especially and I tell people, because a lot of times at the end of my stream, I still have a queue of 15 questions to go through, and I only have so much time in my day. I would love to send those questions to another streamer, and it's just it's an instant growth hack, because you'll have an audience, you'll have things to work through. It's something I need to work on in the future, is getting a little bit better at supporting people who want to do this to help people and giving them the tools they need to succeed.
Absolutely, because you don't need to be an expert at streaming. You don't need to be an official teacher or a professor. If you have a passion for math, if you have a passion for science, it's great to get out there and get your passion shared with other people. We're going to take our field trip. We're going to take a raid and do exactly what Dr. Old was just talking about, and send our support to another educational streamer,
Nice.
to Ivan Neo. I have been Mr. Aegis. I will continue to be Mr. Aegis, I presume, in the future. I stream health and wellness content. You can check me out at twitch.tv/Mr_Aegis. My next lesson will be on dealing with distress. We talk about how to stay mentally sane and well in the world filled with bad news and disturbing images and video that's always out there, and how we can stay mentally well, even though bad news is what the algorithm is always pushing to us. Yep. However, you can go see some good news right now at Ivan_Neo, where we will be rating. Each of the 2 iPi is going to send us there now. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. That's all I have for you. Class dismissed.
Thank you, Mr. Aegis. This is great.
See you, Dr.
Really
Gold. It was
it.
great. Thank you so much. Great conversation. Bye, everybody.
Peace.